Hey guys, Bobby Thompson with another episode of Jiu-Jitsu and Coffee. And on this episode, our guests are Alex Abreu, Brenden Secor, and Wyatt Keefer.
So,
hey guys.
So we're going to get started with an introduction by Wyatt. So Wyatt, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history with Jiu-Jitsu?
He likes to live dangerous. He took the coffee lid off.
I did.
That's
Well, my history with Jiu-Jitsu. Growing up, I was born and raised in Florida. Just having a good time. I never really knew much about Jiu-Jitsu. I grew up with people who did karate, so and with a little bit more studying of it nowadays, it's not what you think it is.
Don't be nervous, man. Calm down. If you feel someone touching under your table, just let it happen. Relax.
I'm not nervous.
You've got a
I'm
nervous
good.
posture in it. Arms are folded. His lips quivering. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Relax. It's good, man.
No, the reason why I started Jiu-Jitsu was because of Alex, actually. He told me about it one time. He started showing me things at work and started choking me out at work. So, I wanted to get a little bit better, and that's pretty much it for me.
When you guys came into the school, was that the first time you all had trained, or had y'all trained before that?
I had never trained with martial arts ever before that.
Interesting.
That was your first time too?
In the actual school environment, yeah.
What about outside the school environment?
We did a little bit like hand-to-hand combat training in the military, just, like really basic stuff. My dad did jiu-jitsu growing up. When I was growing up, so he would show me, like I knew what the Americana was already, stuff like that a little bit.
Yeah, I think
nothing crazy.
I think the Navy adopted the combatives, right? Don't they teach the combatives?
No.
The Marines do. They teach
Yeah.
MCMAP.
So I was at Ramstein Air Force Base training in Germany, and they had blue belt instructors there that's what they taught, combatives.
Mm-hmm.
The Air Force is usually ahead of the curve all the time.
They have all the money, so they get to teach more and more than the Navy gets to actually teach.
Yeah. So they had guys there like just training with me, and that was their job, right? Their job was teaching Air Force Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
There's some guys down in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Dakota, and them that they're training. They're part of the Lewis Powers Association.
Yeah.
They were here for the annual meeting, right?
We just picked up a really cool school as well in San Antonio, which is Saad and Sway Al-Aziz. So you guys don't know them, but they used to be part of the network. Well, no, technically they weren't. Technically they were just training with Luis for a few years. They had moved to Jacksonville, and but they were just super cool, always helping out with the association, always helping out with the tournaments, cross-training. Saad actually came over here and taught classes when I was injured before, but they just joined Luis's network, so that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Shout out to those guys.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
So we got any questions for now? Wyatt, let's Wyatt's on the hot box today. So
Yeah, I'm in a hot seat.
You wrecked your last tournament. Was that your first tournament?
That was my first tournament, yes.
And you totally just wrecked it.
It was a good time.
You wrecked your gi and no gi, and then moved up a class.
Like one thing that I was told was go through people, and so I did. So what was the first match? Like 46 seconds?
Yeah, it was fast.
The look on people's faces, man.
I think everyone was scared. From
Yeah,
that
they're
point
just
on.
like, oh, what is he gonna do next? Because they had no time to think. You were just like all over.
Supernova.
Yep.
It was cool to
like
watch.
light. Yeah,
It
quick
was
like
definitely
light.
cool to watch. Getting some striking.
But now I
in
actually am going to be in another tournament in Miami in 2 weeks, November 17th.
Is it the new breed, right?
Yeah, same thing as you guys did, the new breed.
You're just driving down alone.
My wife, she lives down. She goes to U of M, so I'm gonna stay with her, and then she's gonna go watch me.
I didn't even know you
compete.
were married.
Nobody calls it U of M. It's UM.
Oh, UM.
UM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know because I don't go to college.
Real hipsters call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. They're
not U of M,
they're the
it's UM.
they're the Hurricanes, but
Hurricanes.
their
Canes.
mascot's a stork.
It's
so
a cane.
It's a cane.
Yeah, because they're the last ones to leave before a hurricane comes and the first ones to come back.
Did you ask them that?
I did ask them that.
No, you didn't.
The birds?
The birds.
Yes.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Fact.
Boom. Fact check.
Fact check. Yeah, he's married to his high school sweetheart. She's
That's
an
awesome.
officer in the Navy.
It's a good time.
What?
She's an officer. Nice.
Yeah, she got commissioned.
But you're enlisted.
I am.
What's
yeah.
your what they call it AFSC in the Air Force? Is it MOS in the Navy too?
Rating.
It's a rating. Yeah.
It's called a rating.
Yes.
What's your rating?
I am a master at arms. I'm a dog handler.
There's a He-Man character master.
Oh yeah, I know,
right?
dude. I was into He-Man.
Yeah, man.
I was so into He-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the video today. It was like one of those, I don't know, Facebook videos of OSs, and they made this compilation of them cleaning P-ways. I mean, if you're
Of
OS,
them what?
Okay, yeah, let me break it down.
Exactly, here we go.
Cleaning
Cleaning
All right.
P-ways.
All right. So, OS is an operations specialist and radar operator. That's my job. That was my job when I was in the military, cleaning P-ways. So when you're in port, radar operators, they don't have much to do. So they clean their spaces. A P-way is a short term for passageway, right? So you give a guy a P-way, they take pride in it. They're high dusting with feather dusters, right? Which is
Foxtails.
Foxtails. I'm sorry. Yeah, foxtails. Right, Navy terms. Anyway, so there's a video of these guys. I'll show you guys. It's hilarious, and it's making fun of the fact that OSs all they do is clean. But really underway, Combat Information Center, the radar operators, they OSs do have an important role in the ship's combat scenarios. But yeah, it was funny.
P-ways.
P-ways, passageways. There's a lot of terms in the
Foxtails and
Navy.
P-ways.
Scuttlebutt. You know what I mean?
Scuttlebutt. I know there was a
Let's-
Scuzzlebutt character in Orange Park.
Let's
I mean,
test. Let's do
let's
that.
test his part.
Let's test. All right.
South Park.
So,
We're gonna
Coach,
give you
if you don't mind, we're
terminologies.
gonna give you Navy terminology and see if you can guess what the actual meaning is.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Let's pull something up.
I think we have enough
I
data
have enough.
here.
Yeah.
Okay. So first one, scuttlebutt. What would you think scuttlebutt means?
Scuttlebutt. I mean, to scuttle a ship is to sink it on purpose. And
We can
right?
give them. Let's use it in a sentence as
Okay.
well, so we can help them out a little
All right.
bit.
Did you hear the scuttlebutt about us pulling in a port early?
No.
Oh, so like the rumor.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And the reason behind that is because the.
So you couldn't say like I sucked her cuttlebutt. Like that, or scuttlebutt.
I guess that would work.
Wrong.
I mean, yeah,
You're wrong.
phrasing.
Because the scuttle that comes from like being next to the water hole, like the
Yeah.
drinking water. Like
Yeah, I thought scuttlebutt was also like a water fountain.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
is true.
but that's why that's where all the rumors.
It's like the
get
water
started.
cooler, yeah.
kind of like the smoke pit is.
Check out the fantail on her. What
Yeah.
do you think
Hey.
that means?
Ash.
Yeah.
There it is.
Or what about
The first Navy, I learned some Navy slang. First Navy slang I ever learned was LBFM.
LVFM?
Yeah.
LB.
I think you had to have gone to Asia to understand that one though. She's an LBFM. Y'all don't know LBFM? This is supposed to be like, this is actually military slang. A little brown
I
fuck
mean,
machine.
I know.
all Filipinas are LBFMs, right? Sorry, that was that.
No
All right, well, there you go.
Hold on, listen. That's not my.
Right,
this
right.
is we're talking about the
Disclaimer.
military, not me.
What's another good one?
Like, I mean, you got
Gee
food
dunk.
bar. Yeah, I was gonna say gee dunk.
Fubar, come on, man. Everyone uses that.
Well, gee dunk.
I don't
Coach is throwing down some gee dunk right now.
I don't know.
It's like junk food.
Junk food, geek
Yeah.
dunk. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do cheat once in a while.
What else? Bulkhead.
Yeah,
Bulkhead's the part of the ship. That's the
yeah, it is.
the front.
No, it's
No.
a wall.
Oh, a wall.
It's a bulkhead.
Man, it's on the spot now. I can't think.
I can't.
Yeah, now it's like
I'm just like walking through shit. Anyway,
Anyways,
Yeah,
moving on.
We can
Yeah,
move
go.
on. We can throw some out there.
How long were you in, Brenden?
I was in for 15 years.
No, did you get retirement?
Yeah, it's a long story. I'm not going to get into, but yeah, I did get.
As long as you got out.
Yeah,
with
I
some-
got out honorable discharge and retired. I collect a paycheck the rest of my life for my service.
yeah.
It was an early retirement though.
Did it right, like me.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of cool. I found out a fact like 70% of the homeless people, and that's a high number, right, are veterans, and I'm just like,
how?
how?
Like,
Exactly. There's so
I
many
know, it's like-
programs out there, and I've heard stories like where it's like some people that are homeless, and I can't speak for them, but I've heard that it's like they just kind of adopted that lifestyle, and they're okay
Yeah.
with it, and they make money
dude.
panhandling.
Oh yeah.
It may be a better lifestyle than what we live. I mean, they
knows?
are.
You never know. They're not paying taxes on shit.
They have no worries whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like I'm out there. I'm not saying they're great, whatever. But you never know. They may be mentally healthier than we are. It's possible.
I dealt with someone else, a cop, like in Jack's Beach. It was like nothing but homeless people. Like we had to deal with all the time, and a lot of them were sharp. I mean, they had their shit together. It's just like you said. I think
Permanent vacation.
it
Fuck
might be.
it.
Yeah,
For real.
if you're gonna be homeless, go
They have
live
that
on a
awesome
beach.
tan. Got the ripped jeans. They sell to the hipsters.
I mean, and like they had cash on them. Like they get their disability checks or getting disability checks or getting money. They're just like, nah, that's like I'm okay.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how much. If I just took a year off and didn't do anything, then pay bills,
That would just
my
be
account
awful.
would be.
But you know that scares me more
Down the
than
drain.
anything else. Like forget
Not
clowns.
having-
Like being homeless. Oh my gosh, that's like the biggest fear I have.
Wouldn't scare me a bit.
It scared me.
Yeah,
I would
I'd
live
never-
off of
I'd
you
never
guys
fear.
for a few years until you can. Like,
I would
hey,
just-
can I crash on your couch? And,
Oh yeah, I'll definitely go.
I'll-
You
I'll
got
wash
burn
your
all those
dishes and shit.
bridges.
All I have to do is move to just move to Asia somewhere, China, Philippines, somewhere.
Sure, work there.
Just
Yeah,
teach
we're
English or be a call center manager. Like you have instant work and you're instantly at the highest echelon of income. Like so,
That makes sense.
when I was in the Philippines,
just for speaking English.
I taught English with no college degree, and the pay was excellent. I had two chicks living with me that I paid them to like clean my. They did crawl in my bed once in a while, but
Hey,
Oh, wait,
my
hey,
man.
but they were technically
That's what's up. It's all right.
Bonding,
Ain't no shame. Ain't no shame.
they were technically employees. I never asked them to. They did that on their own. So.
You know, you
I
get
think
a
they
sexual
call that-
harassment charge.
I think that's called prostitution.
No, there's none of that over there. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I'd move to Asia. I'd just move to and teach English or be a call center manager. There's like a million things you can do over there. It'd be
I want to travel. Like,
Effortless.
that's the cool thing to do nowadays. But I
Yeah.
think it'd be, take a year and like backpack and
I'm just scared of planes crashing. There's one that just crashed recently.
just get over there and then ride trains everywhere.
Yeah, but I still have to get on a plane over there.
You know, you can take
you
a
could
ship.
take a boat.
I'll take a boat.
You could take a boat. Although
Just take
like,
all the cruises.
you have a better chance of dying in your car than you do actually on a plane.
Yeah, but I've never died in my car.
I've never died on a plane.
How do you know?
How do you know
Ooh,
you haven't
here we
died on
go.
a car?
I
It's all,
haven't.
it's all simulation.
It is
Yeah.
a simulation.
I've never been in a car accident, knock on wood. But I think about that, like, total, like, minor fender bender, sure. Someone bumped into me, but never, like, I've never wrecked.
See, I've been in wrecks and I didn't die.
I had one car wreck, and it'll piss you off. So I'm living in Italy. I got to share this. I'm living in Italy, and I'm driving down the road. We're doing 45, 50, whatever. And this car, it's not a right lane, but it's like, kind of gravelly, kind of dirt, whatever. So this car starts pulling off to the right, slowing down. So I'm like, okay, cool. He's letting me over or something. So I start speeding up and going, and then he just turned right in front of me,
Nice.
and I hit him, and the cops come, and they're like, yo, that's how we turn left here. We get off, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Why would you
ass backwards
Yeah.
shit is that?
Why not just stay where you are? If I can't pass, what's the point? You're either pulling off, waiting for an opening, or like, why? I didn't. So I got the ticket for hitting the guy, even though he pulled off to the right and slowed down.
Was he a national? Like, was he Italian?
Yeah, they were both Italian.
Yeah, so that probably didn't help you out.
Yeah, and maybe it was maybe he was just like bullshitting me or whatever, but
Yeah.
he
I'm
sold me
so
at the
confused.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so confused by that. That's how they turn.
yeah, yeah. At least I got the ticket that day, and that's what he said. He goes, "Yeah, that's what we do." He goes, "He pulled off to the right to turn. You tried to go," and I was like, "I was just driving in my lane. What are you talking about?" So that was the one accident I was ever in, just because shit didn't make sense.
International.
Yeah. I was in a motorcycle accident.
Mr.
but that's
Worldwide.
not the same as a car.
It's almost the same. It's got two wheels
I got thrown off, though. So I didn't stay inside.
and a helicopter ride.
And a helicopter ride, yeah.
Hey.
That's how I got out of the
You
Air
took
Force.
all the sorts of transportation that day, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Land, sea, and air. No. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So,
So how long you been in, Wyatt?
I have been in for 6 years.
You gonna be a lifer?
Hopefully. Hopefully I can retire.
I recommend it, man. I would stay in. I would milk the shit out of it. I would stay in so long. I'd rack up that retirement.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And my dad just did 8 years, but he was in he got injured in Vietnam, so he didn't get retirement, but he got full medical benefits. Every year they gave him a couple pair of glasses. They offered to replace his knees. Like that, I don't know what that would cost. Multiple surgeries. Like he'll be in the hospital. He's been in the hospital. He had he went into a coma for something. I don't know what he had. Something happened. But right now they're getting ready to do $45,000 of dental work on him. He's getting like all new.
Oh my
He's in his
God.
70s,
That's-
right?
yeah.
They're getting ready to, and everything. They take care of it.
It's just-
100% of everything.
you're talking about
Wow.
through the VA?
Through the VA.
Yeah.
Everything. All of his medicals. And he got this for all of his brothers. So apparently, if you were in the military, you can just apply for, even if you didn't retire. If you apply, you'll get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get full medical coverage for the rest of your life.
So he gets a pension too, right, from the VA?
No, he didn't. No. He
Oh,
just-
so it's
he
just medical?
gets
That's
full
still
med.
awesome.
Yeah.
Still, the VA benefits outweigh. I mean, that
That
helps tremendously.
dude.
I'm sure.
Do you know what what he'd be paying for medical benefits right now for insurance? He'd probably be paying close
be-
to
yeah.
$1,000 or something right now. I mean,
It'd be
that's
out the ass.
yeah. And you think about that. That's after taxes. So you might as well say $1,200, $1,300, something like that.
Yeah,
And he-
insurance is crazy.
And he pays no deductible. You know.
Yeah.
Everything.
Nice.
He goes to the hospital. It's 100% taken care of.
Oh yeah.
So when I was working at the police department, one of the guys, he had like 6 years on me. I was brand new, and I was actually making $100 more than him on paycheck because I opted out for the insurance because I had my own insurance,
Yep.
and he had a wife and one kid, and he was pissed when he found that
I
out.
was super salty about it.
Yeah, but I was
remember you
like,
telling me.
I mean, it's not my
Yeah.
fault.
No,
Yeah.
you're set, dude.
Yeah.
You're,
Yeah.
From that standpoint, you're set for the rest of your life. And your spouse gets it too?
And my kids, and my future kids.
Yep.
Really? I didn't know that. That's fucking awesome, man.
My kids are taken care of medically until like 24. I think when they finish college, then they have to find their own medical insurance. But yeah, and I always tell them to go to the hospital because there's no copay. You get medication and
Yeah.
you see by the doctor. You don't have to pay a copay, which copays aren't that much. But you know, hey,
I went to my
every
shrink.
little dollar
yeah.
helps.
Went to
Yeah.
my shrink, no copay. Gave me like 3 prescriptions. I paid $3 for all 3 of them.
I pay a copay for therapy with one of them, but you know, it's all itemized and I can get that money back.
Yeah.
But back to
Wyatt.
Dude, you're military. You're current. You're active.
Yeah.
Milk
Yeah.
it,
I'm
milk
gonna ride this
Are
thing till the
you-
wheels
are you
fall off.
thinking
I'll tell
officer
you what.
program? Are you thinking
So
transfer?
I mean,
Definitely work
there's
on
a million.
college.
There's a million things I can do. I can get a degree, go service warfare officer, which is where you're just an officer on a boat, right, Alex?
Yeah.
I mean, I could not worry about getting a degree and go get out, go to the Army and fly helicopters as a warrant officer. Like, all you need is a high school degree for that. But
Do you
right
have
now,
that?
do I have a high school degree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Thankfully, right? My parents did one thing right.
So I've got a couple of friends. Actually, one that he's a commissioned officer, a Mustang, right? He was prior enlisted.
Yeah.
He's got it in with he knows people at University of Miami. So if you're able to work a commission program, and,
Oh, yeah.
and, I could definitely help you out in getting you in contact with the right people.
No,
through him.
yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I mean, right now the dog handling thing, that's where it's at.
It's super cool, but
yeah,
thinking long term,
yeah. I mean, let's say I make E7, E8, which is either chief or senior chief. You guys know that. Dog handling, you really can't go up until you go like head in charge of the program.
Manager.
Yeah, become a program manager. So I mean, you're walking dogs for a living, and then all of a sudden you have to either choose be in that leadership position, drop leash, and not be a dog handler anymore, or start applying for the officer program.
yeah.
And I mean, being a security officer isn't awful. It's just I've heard awful things about it. But I mean, just like you guys have heard it before, and I believe you've heard it before too, Bobby. Just it's what you make of it, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, having been in the military and I actually wrote my congressman to stay in. It was a long story. They wanted me, my faggot chief master sergeant wanted me out or sex with me, one of the two, and I opted
boy.
for neither. So I fought it. I got an attorney and everything and fought it as long as I could. And I got out with a dishonorable. Of course, I went to the discharge review board. They flipped it over, gave me my, I got an honorable and all my benefits. But I wanted to retire. I wanted to stay in there. I loved it. I loved the Air Force. And I think I had the best job in the entire military. I would argue with anyone. Like I don't think anyone in the military loved their job as much as I did. So I don't know if I never asked my cousin because my cousin was in the Air Force and he worked in the branch that makes assignments. There's like a team of them, and anyone who goes in the Air Force, he looks at he decides where they go. Right? Well, there's a group of them, but they decide where they go. I never asked him, but I got assigned to this detachment called Det 1 in Mount Corna, Italy. Det 1 had about 11 NCO, 11 non-commissioned, people there. There was no officers, and there was no base. The closest base was an Army base about an hour and a half away called Vicenza. It was Army Ranger Base. And then the closest Air Force base was 3 hours away. It was Aviano. And so it was this little room with a radio tower that we would go to, and the chief master sergeant made all the rules. So he was an alcoholic, and his second in command was an alcoholic, so they were never there. And to make it okay so no one would complain, they'd go, first off, our hours are 9 to 4, and we had no PT. So already, instead of 8 to 5, it was 9 to 4. But he said, well, since we don't have a PT program, we don't have a gym, we encourage you to do PT. So if you're doing PT for lunch, you can take 2 hours for lunch. So now it's 9 to 4 with a 2-hour lunch.
Yeah.
And when you're on site, all we did was sit and watch TV, right? And we could make calls to the U.S. because we could run it through the secured RF. I don't know. Somehow we went to I didn't do it. The radio guys jacked us through, right? So I was an electrical guy. But all I had to do was travel to unmanned radio towers all throughout Italy and do maintenance on generators and switchgear. So I would make sure that shit would work right. And it would always be me and a RF guy who would check all the RF equipment. But the RF guy's work is always like 5 times the amount of work of my work. So I would either be doing a monthly, a semi-annual, or an annual, all at like super nice ski resorts, like Mount Paganella, Cima Galena, Mount Serra, Mount Sirmione, these like ultra high end.
Yeah.
And what they would do is they'd put us up in these 5-star hotels. They paid for all the meals while you're there. And let's say I'm doing like a semi-annual. My work would take like 6 hours, but the guy with me, his work would take like 5 to 7 days.
Oh,
and
shit.
So you're just chilling the entire time.
I'm just skiing. I got
Nice.
I got passes. So all I did was ski 5 days a week on Black Diamond Ski Resort, and I'm staying in 5-star hotels. And there's people, wealthy people from all over the world vacationing. Hot chicks, and it was unbelievable that I got to do this for 2 years. And they even gave me my own, well, not full time, but whenever we're traveling, which is half the time at least, you had this brand new 4x4 quad cab Chevy truck.
Nice.
And it was just sweet as could be, man.
Yeah, that's a sweet gig.
It was a sweet
What was that called?
That was called Detachment 1, and
man.
I was an electrical power production specialist. I worked on generators and switchgear, but yeah, it was a sweet gig.
Yeah, if your cousin hooked you up with that job, you owe him one on that.
Well, the problem is, I went in the military at 17, and then I thought this was life. I'm like, oh, life's like this? This is fucking badass. I like life. I like adulting. Adulting's cool. And it actually ruined me for the rest of my life, because I got out of the Air Force and I thought, okay, what kind of sweet gig am I doing now? I didn't realize I got the best one in the world right off the bat, so everything just got shittier from then on.
I got you. Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, so appreciate what you have for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing about the military is that they expect you to work when the work comes, but at the same time, you're paid a salary. You're not paid hourly. So,
the one thing I took advantage of was hops. I hopped multiple times to the U.S., to Germany, every weekend I would hop somewhere. It'd be $10 to hop. And then back then, if you'd stay at a nice, and this is in 91, 92, if you'd stay at a nice hotel on base, it was only like $15 or something like that. Or it was ultra cheap back then.
it's a little different nowadays.
Yeah,
It's like
Navy doesn't have
50-something
nice
bucks.
No.
We got the Navy Lodge,
Yeah.
but
And it costs as much as like a Holiday Inn. It's ridiculous.
you might as well go out in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had everything. Like, people don't understand. It's like I remember, like, if you wanted to work on your car, they had, like, the military had, like,
A little car
garages
garage. Yeah,
you
we
could
still
go
have
rent,
that.
and it had all the fucking tools. Like, you didn't.
Oh, yeah.
You
We still have those on.
everything
Yeah,
you needed.
the lifts. They have the lifts too.
Yeah, like, instead of in real life, you're like super lucky if you have this friend who has something like this, who owns a shop or something. But the military kind of makes sure that you have everything you need.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you run an hourly, you get any tool you need. It's it's super easy.
Yeah.
And there's MWR, like at Mayport, which is right down the street from us. We can rent a boat. You need a truck. We can rent a camper. They've got kayaks, fishing pools. So
Sweet deals on tickets.
tickets
Oh,
for
yeah, that too.
events, so,
Yeah.
Go see the Jags play.
so one of these days, maybe we should all rent a boat and then go find Craig out there and like
Hell yeah.
knock him over,
That'd be awesome.
race him or something.
That's a good idea. We should do that.
Yeah.
I like boats.
You got a truck? We can just put in. Oh.
Pause in the truck.
And like, how much vacation do you get a year? I'm just curious. Like,
I mean, depends on
30
it
days.
depends on how much you use. Yeah, you get 30 days of leave per year. It's 2.5 days per month.
Does that go up, or is that just that's it for your whole career?
No, you can. So you want to tell them?
No, you can tell them. I'm
Okay, so
not really
you can rack up
used
to,
it.
I think, 90
60.
days. Is it 90 or 60?
It's 60.
And then
So
it's
the-
use or lose.
So the thing is, you can go 60.
But you're technically saving
Yeah.
from the previous.
It's even more weird. So you can go 60 on your third year. You can hold up to 90 days, right? But on that third year, you'll go back down to 60. So it kind of forces you to use 30 days to get. So I like to hover at 60, but it's depends who your chain of command was. So what I would do is I would use like 5 days of leave and be off for 3 weeks because I would like use my leave and my liberty, like
Yeah.
my days off. So I'd combine them, like which is normal in the civilian world to do that, but not in the military. So it depends what command you were. But yeah, like it was about 30 days a year, and you could keep up to 90.
Right.
Yeah, like the
But
command-
your whole career, you always amass 30 a year. That's
Yes,
that's stays that
2.5
way.
a
yeah.
month.
Yeah, like the,
And at the end, when you retire, you can sell back.
Because in the civilian sector, like it goes for me, it goes up. Where I started, it's first year is like 3 weeks, and the second year is 4 weeks, and then it goes up to 5 weeks, and then eventually 6 weeks, and it just keeps on going up.
Everybody.
Yeah,
2.5
same thing.
2.5 days a month.
Yeah.
But
A lot of days off too.
a lot of days off, and like so there's always you can take time off, like you've put in a request or
Unlimited sick days.
Yeah, you could. I don't know, sick days.
Yeah, think about it. All you had to do is go
Yeah.
inside and get an
Yeah.
SIQ chit.
Right, you have to go to the doc.
Yeah.
Right, and get an SIQ, and then you can go home.
And
That
it doesn't count- it doesn't count?
against your leave.
Yeah.
Or say, hey, you just talk to your LPO or your lead, right, and be like, hey man, I got to take my kids to an appointment. Can I leave at 12? Yeah, sure. And you're off the rest of the day. Like it doesn't count against you as time. Weekends they count as days though, right?
What do you mean?
Like say you wanted to take Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That would
Yeah, if you
would
started-
have to. It would be those
Yeah.
5 days of your leave. The weekend doesn't count as off time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to set up your leave in a way that it was beneficial to you. But because you can technically you're on call 24/7, so you can
Yes.
get called in on that Saturday or Sunday. But if you're saying you're on leave for those days, then they
You know-
can't call you
They
in.
can't mess with you.
Another super cool thing when I went in the military, I was kind of spoiled. My dad bought me a new Mustang. It was a nice 5 GT. Shipped that
God.
over. But
Square
then
body?
he had also bought me. People hated me. He had also bought me a ZX6 Ninja ZX6 brand
Oh,
new,
Jesus.
and they shipped that as part of the furniture. That
Yeah.
shit came
Yeah.
in.
Right. Yeah.
They shipped it as, and I thought, how cool is that? Everywhere I move, the Air Force is shipping my motorcycle, my car, all my furniture. I didn't do anything.
One car, one motorcycle if
Yeah.
you're single, and then even if you're married.
And we
Yeah,
paid.
it's one.
I paid $10 to have my son. That's everything. That's all it cost me to have a child in the military in 1991. It cost me
Wow.
$10.
$10.
The military hospital. Yeah.
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 It's I don't know how much because both my children were in the military.
Yes, same.
So I don't know how much it costs to have a kid at a hospital. I have no idea.
I've heard.
Couple thousand?
Yeah, a couple $1,000.
That's
Even
a
at a
lot.
military hospital?
No,
we're talking
Totally.
about
If you're a
Well,
civilian.
this is the military hospital.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
like
I
both
didn't
my
pay
kids-
anything
I didn't
for
pay
Elizabeth.
I don't remember. One of them was born in Hawaii. One of them was born in San Diego. So I got a Hawaiian
Yeah, you do.
kid. Yeah.
Hey.
She just turned 16. Got her driver's license.
Uh-oh.
So now I got 2 DDs. Yeah.
Hell at the wheel.
Yeah. nice
Kiefer
shit.
was my designated driver yesterday.
Yes, I was.
Did a great
It
job.
was a good time.
Yeah.
He was sleepy.
Ooh. Yeah. I was a little sleepy bitch.
I was.
Went
yeah.
and got
I was
Whataburger
dancing a lot.
afterwards.
We did get
So,
Whataburger.
so I never drink, man. I drink like once a year or less. But so Tom bought that lemon drop, and I had a vodka Colin, and I had that apple teeny. And, bro, if you want to know what's fucked up with your body, have a little bit of alcohol, and like 4 a.m. every injury that I had in
Yep.
my body was amplified times like 400.
Really?
I'm just like,
Yeah.
I couldn't move in bed. I'm like, oh shit! I had to get up and get some pain pills. And it was everything that I had an injury. It was my back, my hip, my knee, my shoulder. I'm like,
weird. The alcohol just
yeah, the
intensified it?
alcohol did that to me. Maybe I don't know why. I have no idea why, but definitely every injury that I have in my body that's normally fairly suppressed was times 10. It was
Afterwards, when your body's trying to recover, it's probably trying to burn off all that crap. Mm-hmm. And all
Yeah,
the
it's
blood's
processing.
going to.
Filter the alcohol out.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Isn't alcohol like an inflammatory?
See, that's what I would think. I would
Yeah.
think because if nothing else, right? I mean, when you're
We had this
when you're on
conversation.
alcohol,
Yeah, we did.
you're dehydrated, and water. I noticed that when I drink a lot of water, my pain is less, right? So yeah, I guess I was just totally
Dehydrated.
dehydrated. So I
Yeah.
got up and took some pain pills and drank a whole bunch of water, and then I felt better. Who's that? Who's blowing?
Not
on
me.
Can't tell. It's coming
sorry.
over the.
Yeah.
It's our host.
Sorry, I meant to- it's off.
That's fun. I'm glad you guys got to go out. Unfortunately,
Dude, we were-
I was.
It was fun, man.
Dude, we're all like, thank God Brendan's not here.
I know you weren't saying that. I know you guys were.
Paul was
probably
like,
saying you
God,
were-
Kelly was getting free drinks from everyone.
Dude, Kelly was.
I only spent
Kelly-
$30
Yeah.
last night.
What?
Yeah, that's all I spent. Oh, and some random chick poured a drink down my throat.
Yeah, she did.
It was so
right in front of
weird.
your wife.
Right in front of my wife. She just walked up to
Yep.
me. It's like, I have an extra shot. And before I said no thank you, she just put it in my mouth.
dude.
And I was like, okay.
And the crazy thing is that it only a little bit spilled on you.
Yeah. I didn't want to get
Yeah.
So
lemon dropped.
So that club.
Dropped.
What's funny is both of the clubs we went to was the first and second time I ever went out with Hoist, like hanging out with Hoist. So Hoist would come, and because this is when he first started his network, we were one of his very first few networks. He had a couple in North Carolina and Charlotte area, and then he had Larry Sheely at Jack's Beach. But he would come down, and Hoist liked to go out. So
Right.
that the club we was at last was where, it was the entire gang. It was Hoist and Ryan Brinkman and Ryan Murphy and probably Robert Corbin, the black belt that was there. He was probably there at that
Okay.
time. And Larry, the instructor, and John Burke had come up from Orlando. He was a brown belt. But what's funny is we were all in this really narrow area in front of the bar, and Hoist is just chilling up against the wall, quiet. Nobody really recognized him or knew. He's a quiet guy. But this muscle-bound dude comes squeezing his way through, and he's walking up towards this girl, and they kind of meet right in front of Hoist, and the dude just starts talking in front of Hoist. And then, just sometimes it happens when douchebags do, he just kind of ended up with his back towards Hoist and like kind of pushing Hoist against the wall a little bit. Like Hoist was kind of confined, right? And Ryan Murphy, who's a complete nut job, and I mean that with all respect, he's just a funny dude. But he just taps the dude on the shoulder. And I know he's high, he's just a cool. He taps this dude on the shoulder, and you can tell the dude just turned around. He's like, "What?" He's all fucking juiced
he's
out,
ready to-
right?
he's ready to fight.
And Ryan Murphy goes, "Dude, do you know who this dude is? You fucking disrespecting?" And the guy looks right at him. He goes, "That's Hoist motherfucking Gracie." And the dude looks for a second. He's like, you see him just like,
He's just like-
pale, and he grabs the girl. He's like, "We got to go." And it was like, that was pretty cool. That was like the first time I was ever out with Hoist. But second time we were at the first club we were at.
Tavern.
Yeah. And
Shout out.
yeah, can't say on air the story I shared last night, 'cause,
It was a good story.
Yeah,
That was a good time.
I had fun,
It was
dude.
fun times.
Yeah, dude.
At Ritz, we had like our own little spot.
Yeah, dude. Paul, always know somebody who's worked there before, has worked there for a while.
Oh, yeah, he worked there for
Dude,
years.
He walked us right in the back door.
Dude, the line was
longest
like
line I've
100
ever
yards
seen
long.
at a bar. I'm just
Got
like,
VIP last
He
night.
brought us
Yeah,
right
dude.
in.
yeah.
Like, I was like, okay.
he's like, he grabbed the balancer. He's like, all right, bro, we're going to the back.
And then I kept on yelling VIP.
Yep.
I was a little drunk.
Yeah. No. Oh, really?
Yeah, I was drunk. That
And
lemon-
that-
Every song that came on.
That's my favorite
This is
song.
my favorite song.
These were jiu-jitsu connections. That was
Oh, yeah.
that was one of his jiu-jitsu. But Paul, man, Paul's got some great stories about breaking up fights there. Probably, he's obviously jacked, right? Like,
Yeah.
Paul's fucking got that Adonis body. He's fucking all ripped up. But
Beautiful.
Yeah.
He is,
Whoa, whoa,
he is
whoa,
beautiful.
whoa.
He's a beautiful man. We can say it.
Specimen.
Um,
That's funny.
yeah, it was a good time. So back to we got to get back on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So what's your goal? Why are you still training?
Why am I still training?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Do you like
I
it?
love it. Learning from Coach Bobby. He's one of the best coaches I've had. I'm on my second coach. Actually, technically third if you want to count you.
All right, fine.
But
And I'm one of them. That's
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Top three.
One of top three for sure.
no. My end goal. Do it for as long as I can.
You think you're going to be a black belt?
I hope so. One day. I don't know.
I knew I was going to be. I knew it. I had no doubt in my head. I didn't care if it was going to take me 20 years. I knew I was going to be a black belt.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. It is. It kind of is.
I don't think it is.
Maybe
like,
I want to change my
but,
answer.
But when I started, man, I think like the dude that would come up, and this was like one of Hoist's top students. I think I don't want to offend anyone. Probably will. I will. But John Burke and Rob Kahn were like the shit to me. Hoist's of Hoist's. Hoist gave out 7 black belts, and I don't remember who they all were at that. I just remember Rob and John were 2 of them, and John was fucking thick. He looked like a pit bull. And Rob Kahn was a Golden Gloves boxer before he started doing jiu-jitsu. And John lived with Hoist and for I guess several years, you know, and helped teach at the academy and took several of the Gracie challenges where people would come in to challenge. They don't just put you right up with a Gracie. They're like they'll put him with like John Berg handles. It's like people who did come into the school in the Gracie Academy and challenged him. And then those videos are on the internet. You can see John Burke whooping someone's ass, right, multiple times. So John would come up and teach us, and you know, in between Hoist visiting, and that was really cool because he was a legit brown belt. And I think it took him 18 years to get his black belt. I think.
Holy crap.
It was a long. But the point of it was, I'm sitting here thinking. So here I am training, and I'm like, if it took this dude. Living with Hoist and training at the Gracie Academy and whipping people's asses when they come in and do challenges, I can't expect anything less than 18 years. You know, It's like, so I was tickled to death when I got mine in, I think, 11 or something like that.
Wow.
But now like universally that's come down, and the reason in my opinion it's come down is because when I started training. I started training the first school that I saw open up in Jacksonville. I mean, I always wanted to do it, and here I saw the first school. That was end of 2002, and there was a blue belt teaching in Jacksonville. That's what we had. I didn't know it, but at the time there was a purple belt. But he did no advertising. Nobody knew this guy named Lionel Perez was around. I guess once you got into it, it's something you found out. But then I had this loyalty thing where I was already with Larry. So Larry kind of opened the first school on a street with, you know, and marketing it. And so there was, I guess technically at the time, there were 2 schools. There were Larry Shealy's and Lionel Perez's. But I started with Larry, and there was only blue belts at the time. So you had to grow, you're waiting on him to grow. You know, everything was a lot longer. And now there's black, you know, I think Jacksonville's got, God, I don't know, 50 black belts, 100.
Jeez.
It's got a lot of black belts, you know, maybe 50 to 100. I don't know. But point of it is now you got all this knowledge, right? Like you're just inundated with knowledge, and now that journey, you know, for someone who trains full time, you know, who's like dedicated to it, I think it's like an 8-year journey now, you know, if there's such a thing as an average. But like 8 years isn't uncommon. Like now I witness people who started under me at the 8-year mark getting black belts. The fastest black belt. What's the fastest black belt you ever heard of?
BJ Penn.
There's faster. You know how long it took BJ Penn?
Like 3 years?
No, 5. 5 years. 3 years is Kyotera.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was crazy.
3 years for a black belt.
3 years.
That's
but he's like a
BJ Penn's
he's
not
a
the
savant.
fastest? Yeah.
At the time he was. At the
Right.
time. Now this is
It's
all going
changed.
off memory. I'm pretty sure BJ Penn was 5 years. And back when we heard about that, this is a long, you know, BJ Penn was around before Kyotera. 5 years was that was the fastest anyone had ever heard of, and you couldn't argue with it. The dude won. I don't remember the exact turn, but he won major tournaments. So
UFC.
when that all came after, he was a jiu-jitsu.
Right, he was jiu-jitsu. Yeah, he won IBJ
like the
Jazz,
Brasileiros or something. He
ADCC.
won some massive stuff. But yeah, his jiu-jitsu was legitimate. Kyotera, from what I heard, was a 3-year black belt, and that's just ridiculous. Like that's a savant of jiu-jitsu.
Is that like training every single day though? Or like,
I'm sure that's all he did day.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be. There's no way you can close that kind of ground.
Yeah, there's
without
no-
doing something like
Yeah.
that. He had to just do
Like
it all
living
day,
on the
every day.
mats.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
pretty much
Eat, sleep.
lunch, dinner.
Yeah.
And retain it, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, not just retain it. He went beyond retaining. He went into inventing. Like that's the thing. If you're a savant, like
Right.
I would say, like there's been 2 savants who have some degree of savantism, if that's a word. Jason, who I dub him, like I think I'm gonna in my mind he has the moniker the evil genius, because anything I taught where I'd be struggling to teach other people a system, I'd show Jason once, maybe twice, and he'd master the system, and then he starts showing me things, and it's like shit, like he, you know, I'm like I didn't understand how he could do that. But another guy that was similar was Julian Abinsay, and I give a lot of credit to. And there's been some phenomenal guys that have trained with me and kind of started under me, But Jason is one of those guys who just understands everything. Like everything I show him, he understands.
He also does a lot of studying.
Yeah.
So he puts in the work, right?
But I've never seen anyone that studies and gets better. Like this guy comes back from deployment better. You know, I've never seen that. Like studying, okay, I understand. You watch some YouTube videos, but you're not going to come back and be better. He comes back and hits you with all this shit he watched, and it's like
He's got like an inflatable dummy that he brings on the boat.
yeah, no, I think his brain just is able to visualize it in a manner where it's as if he's doing it.
He's
Right?
probably a visual learner. See, I'm a
Right.
kinesthetic learner. I need that hands-on.
Yeah.
Like I'll look at videos all day and it just
hands on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid. I just derailed my.
Phrase.
train of
I'm sorry,
thoughts.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool, bro. That's
No,
cool.
I'm with you though. I have to rep the move. I have to practice it. I have to like fail at it, right? Try to attempt it on someone, and then get better.
Yeah, you
but
probably forgot everything already too.
Yeah, dude. You wash your belt too?
Like what's it? Tuesday is the last time you've been to class.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
nuts.
keep track.
yeah.
Yeah.
what
He's
friends
got, he's got a calendar. He's got
called
he's got a
accountability.
Jason calendar. He's got a Brenden calendar.
I'll make up for it and not miss a whole.
Ooh,
class
Jason will be back November
for
14th.
November.
Ooh, really?
Can't wait. Got it on my calendar with hearts on it.
I might come down that day. You never know.
Yeah.
It's my mom's birthday too, but
I know.
Jason's more important.
Yeah,
I'm always
I'd
excited
ask.
to see what Jason's going to teach me. Like honestly, like he comes back, I'm like, ooh, what's up? You know,
Jason's teaching class today.
I know he always shows me some super cool shit, and I'm like, I can't say anything. I'm just like, fuck, you're making me look stupid, man.
I like that he goes. I like that he trains at other places, like when he goes to
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
He drops in and gets to roll with different people and meet other people out there.
That kind of takes a lot too. Like just doing that because I've done it a few
Dude,
times.
he's caught like. Hopefully, hopefully I don't get him in any trouble or anything. But he's trained with some like. Jason's only trained like 3 years, you know, but some of that he's been out. He's trained with some EBI black belts, right? Like some fucking professional paid grapplers, and tapped them.
Really?
Yes,
Oh my
yes, he
goodness.
has tapped EBI black belts. Like I'm not gonna throw any names out there, but
I know. I think I know.
how sick is that, right? Like
Yeah.
how sick is that's fucking legit as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
That deserves a stripe.
I haven't.
Yeah,
caught-
just that alone.
I know. But you're talking about a guy that's got 2 years of training,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Catching
dude.
EBI black belts.
It's-
But I'd like to attribute all that to his teacher. His teacher's legit as
Yeah.
fuck. That's
So
It's a really
Who's
cool
his
guy.
teacher?
oh, that's me.
Just make sure.
In case I didn't make that clear.
makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, he's alright.
So
Nikki,
you coming down here more?
Am I? Usually like every 2 weeks. You know, like
He's got to see me. I miss him.
yeah.
Now,
He's my best friend.
How often is Chris teaching class up at the adult class? Up there?
Chris teaches every Tuesday and Thursday in the gi, and then Brent's teaching Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah,
No
both,
gi.
both of those guys are solid.
Yes.
Both,
Oh
both of
my
those
gosh.
guys. Brent goes outside of the curriculum more.
Yes.
Brent likes to bring in systems, and he showed me systems. Like honestly, Brent will come and he'll be like, "Oh, check out this Puppet Master system, or check out this Kimura trap," you know, which I had been working with. But he'll show me new things, you know, like check out these entry. You know, he's always exploring.
And he's inventing
things.
stuff too. Like he's showing,
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah.
check
Brent's really, what's the word for that? You know, he's like a well-kept secret. You know,
Yeah.
Chris is lucky to have him, and Chris has
Super
some
nice
really
guy,
nice
too.
jiu-jitsu.
I think
No,
Brent's
Chris
a
is-
super nice guy too.
Chris is solid.
Yeah.
He definitely teaches a lot, but at the same time, he shows all the little details when he's going over it.
Yeah.
I mean, his classes are kind of small just because of the area, but at the same time, I feel like that makes it a little better for him, because he'll see you do something wrong from across the room and, you know, correct that right away, so you don't create that habit.
Yeah, and yeah. What's the next tournament we're doing? Who knows?
Is the one in Orlando, the New Breed?
No, I think it's another 10th Planet one. I think it's in November, isn't it?
Well, Henry's competing in that 155 challenge that
Oh yeah, isn't that in like February though?
I
think
think
it
that's
was January.
Yeah,
January.
and it's
Oh,
for
I
like a
wanna be there for that
$1,300
one.
prize or something like that.
I
And
wanna
there's
be there
brown
for
and
that.
black belts in it. You know,
Henry's nuts.
Henry is
is.
he's like your game evolved.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he is. Like your ferocity, your intensity, is what Henry was when he was Henry was you're Henry, you know, but
thank
but,
you.
but Henry's like, you know, like 8 years in now.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty, I love watching him compete because you have to, some people lose because mentally they quit. Like some people they don't realize it. They don't realize it. I see it all the time though. Like I'm watching, I'm like, that guy just mentally quit. Henry will never mentally quit.
No.
Actually, when Henry should tap, he doesn't. Like he's like, shit's like, he's like, no, I ain't done yet. That shit's got another, 2 degrees. So it's always a blast watching Henry. And fuck, how fun is it watching Nikki compete, man? I wish she would compete all the time. I would be. I'm her biggest fan.
All full-time jiu-jitsu for Nikki.
We need to get her sponsors so she can quit her job.
I know she could go as far as she wants to go.
Dude, I want to get sponsors so I can
Check this out. She catches Jason like regularly. I'm not, dude. And there's nothing wrong with that. She catches me from time to time. But do the math on that, right? Like Jason's catching professional black belts and Nikki's catching Jason. Like man, she doesn't know how good she is. She needs to get out there. She needs to compete more.
She'll be a black belt one day.
One day.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like right now, her work is really getting the.
I agree.
I hate that because she was.
I mean, that happens when
she was going straight
become
up.
an adult too. You kind of start to think about, oh, well, I need to support myself, but I also want to go train.
Well,
what she needs to do is, she needs to, and she knows she's welcome to. She needs to set up some classes outside of her schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And get girls in here, like
She mentioned something about open mat.
Yeah.
I don't think it fit my time frame, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's what she needs to do. She's got time in the mornings, or it could be, I don't care, Sundays, but she needs to keep training.
Yeah.
Kilani, my daughter, she's talking about like she won't come to class if Nikki's not going to be there, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I get it, but that's like.
Because she's not hooked yet. She's not hooked. Like for her, she would only come for socialization, but Kalani, I could see Kalani. Like she hasn't trained long enough yet to know what she's capable of. But genetically, she's at the top. She's obviously at the tip top of the food chain.
Yeah,
she's strong.
If she
wanted to, she could be.
Yeah.
A killer.
Yeah, she could.
Singing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get her in here.
I'll
So
try.
for those of y'all that don't know Brendan's daughter, she's like a multiple-time state powerlifting champion.
3-time Florida State
Olympic
champ,
lifting.
Oh, yeah.
Olympic
Yeah.
weightlifter.
What made her get into that? Was it just high school?
It was high school. It was volleyball. She tried out for the volleyball team, didn't make JV, and the only thing that was open was weightlifting for that time
Hey,
frame.
man.
And I was like in the gym, like just bodybuilding, like weightlifting all the time. So she would go with me every now and then. So she's like, "I'll try it out." And she went to states that year. She didn't she was like 17th.
Whatever.
In there, but she went to states her first year, and after that ended, I was like, okay, this shit has to continue. So I went and did the Google search, and I found an Olympic weightlifting coach local here. It was a family orientated. The guy owned a CrossFit gym, but him and his children focused on Olympic weightlifting. So the wife kind of did the CrossFit side, but I brought her in there right before she went to States, and he saw her do a couple lifts, and he was like, it was the same thing. The look in his eyes, like, oh my God, you do not understand the potential this girl has. And she went and ranked 17th. Next year, she was top 5. The next year she won. The next year she won, and then she's doing it now. She's not in high school. She's doing it outside of high school in USAW.
I could see her like wrecking in MMA. Like I could see her because when you like, first off, all the top MMA girls are built. They're just fucking yoked. I mean, and when you think of jiu-jitsu, like there's not a girl that could handle her. Like there's no girl that's gonna like handle her, and very few men could, with God, if she
got some
trained.
size on her.
Yeah.
And she trained. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
She doesn't see it. She doesn't see it.
Not yet.
She's working. She wants to make money and go to. Well, she doesn't even want to go to college anymore.
Nobody does.
Wants to have fun as a teenager. But
I know. Yeah, I never believed in college. I never went. I regret that. I do kind of regret because there's shit. Like I thought about being a police officer just because I'd enjoy it, not for but you gotta have a degree, right? You gotta have a degree to be a police officer. You gotta have it's interesting, but I did CLEP 58 credits or something, so I think I just have to take one class.
Yeah, that's a lot of credits.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I was like, sitting here. I'm like, oh, I just want to clip a math class or something like that. 58 credits. That's
no. I took all my IT degrees in, which I have like 30, and I just took them all in. They're like, bro, all you need is like a math, and you've got a associates. So I'm like, okay,
let's go for it.
Yeah, so if I ever decide to knock that out,
You know.
but I'm such a for the last like 7 years I've been fighting with the VA to get my GI Bill. Because it's a long story on that, but they didn't give it to me. Like I applied and I didn't, what happened is, even though the board upgraded my DD form 214 to honorable, apparently the government doesn't have those records internally. So when I applied, they declined me based on my honorable versus dishonorable.
Right.
But this happened at a time, they don't email you. They sent me something, but I didn't get it. And I just forgot that I applied because around that time frame, I got hired by a company where they would pay for your college. So I was like, well, it's not an issue right now. I'm going to be working for this company and they'll just pay. And then later on, I left that company and then I'm like, okay, I need my DD form 214. And it turned out you had a year to, if you don't challenge it in a year, you don't get, there's no challenging
You can't appeal it. Yeah.
Right. And I wrote back and I was like, and they said, well, I said, why? I said, I didn't get a declination notice, or and they're like, well, you were declined based on the fact of you had a dishonorable. I said, but I had an honorable. I said, you can't do that. You all made a mistake the first time. I don't care if 10 years went by.
Yeah.
You had no right to. So right now we're going through that. So if I get my benefits back, then I'll go to college for something. I'll get some kind of degree.
Yeah. Hey,
Just to have it.
Go for it.
Yeah. I'll pay some dude
Always
major
learning.
to get me a degree.
Dude,
Oh yeah.
no comment
Right,
on that.
That was,
No comment.
I finished mine, but it's like writing a paper. It's like another job.
Yeah, dude.
Writing a
It
paper
really is.
every week.
Listen, I'll be honest. So I got a degree just because, for whatever reason, if you have a degree, people will talk to you more, like for jobs, and it definitely opened a lot of doors. But I was full time in the Navy. I was a full time student because I knew I was getting out of the Navy, and I didn't want to leave without a degree. Yeah, there's people that will write papers for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they
Well, yeah, there's a homework
there's
sites that
websites
do
you
that
can go
stuff,
to where
but
they
yeah.
do this stuff, right?
Yeah,
Plagiarism.
I had.
do not
Well, it's
condone
not
that.
really plagiarism.
Oh, yeah.
Because I
Well,
paid for it. It's my paper.
It's even easier in the so when I was in the Philippines, it's kind of common, and I'm sure this happens in other countries. It's just the first time I saw this in a third world country. First off, all the Philippine degrees work here. You can get a nursing degree, you can nurse here. You can get a doctor's degree, a dental degree, you can be a dentist here. Everything they have transfers to the U.S. And I had multiple friends that were getting degrees over there that weren't going to school. What they did was just paid the teacher. So they just showed up, and it's such a poor economy because like a teacher, like let's say you're a math professor or something, they'll only be making like $200 a month, or
Jeez.
so you can just like spend them, just here's $50 a month. I'm going to give you, or $20 a month. This is what I'm going to give you, and then you just check me off and say I did everything.
Nice.
That's
yeah.
So it costs nothing. You're just over there hanging out, and like the board of the schools don't know it, but all the professors are down to do this. It's like common. I met so many people that are just like, yeah, I'm in nursing school. I'm like, but you never go to school. They're like, nah, I just give $50 to the professor every month.
It's messed up, but like
Yeah.
everybody does it.
I feel like
not everyone, but man,
I
so
feel
many
like
people
college
cheat
is
systems.
college is just a business, man. That's all it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Handing out
I knew-
degrees that mean nothing.
I ended up being good friends with a guy that owned a college, like a major college there in Cebu. It was like one of the top 2 colleges. Him and his wife, that their family owned it, and he was so big into the UFC. I actually took Hoist to his house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Big flex.
yeah, so he'd be more than like with him. Honestly, I think I could just ask him like how much for a degree, and he'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, here you go, this much.
There you go.
$5,000. You got a 4-year degree, whatever.
And I would pay that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In a heartbeat.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
And he'd just go buy some car parts for his car. And he's got,
Makes sense.
Ridiculous car.
Yeah, he's loaded. His family's loaded. They own a college. Just to own a college in the Philippines, they own a thriving college, and they own strip malls all over the place. This dude, he has a UFC gym in his backyard, and I'm talking a full-on, basically a UFC gym.
Nice.
Yeah, and he has all these race cars.
He's just living the life.
Yeah, we went over there, and it's just servants, just
Oh man.
just making their dinner, he does nothing. Hey, wash the car, clean the dog, do this, do that,
Like the Pablo Escobar of schools.
Yeah, yeah.
I need to have kids to do that.
But he doesn't even train. He just has the gym because he's a fan. Like, he's just a fan. So he built a gym in the backyard thinking he'd train, but he never does. And all he does is the people that he looks up. If anyone is good, and he hears that in an area, he'll invite him to come over and train in his gym. And it was pretty cool. I didn't, but they did. A couple of them got to train with Manny Pacquiao back in 2006
Oh, that's pretty cool.
or 7. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I missed that opportunity to show up and hang out.
Yeah.
Could have.
There'll be more opportunities, I bet.
Yeah. So let's see. I think when we hit a lull like this, just my recommendation. But
We're ready for conspiracies.
I think we should go down conspiracy
goodness.
road. What conspiracies are you down?
Kiefer is
are
going to be your
down to talk
favorite
about?
person.
All right. Well, actually, before we got here, Alex and I were talking time travel, right? So I saw it, thought about it. No matter if the Earth is flat, not flat. Let's say you get into the time machine is built. You get in the time machine, but the Earth is falling through space. So we're here, and so we go back in time to 1945. But the thing is, in 1945, the Earth was higher, technically, however you want to think about it, in space. So you go back
That
in
noise
time.
is coming back. You don't hear it?
Hold on, I'll stop recording.
You figured out time travel.
No. The noise.
Okay, we're back.
Yep.
Yeah, of course you did.
What was it?
All right. So
Don't worry about it, bro.
picking up where I left off. This is just one thing that I wanted to get everyone's opinion on.
It's fake. Okay.
Oh, okay. So you're saying time travel is fake? Got it.
Well, time travel is real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
technically.
it is. But continue.
More on that in a minute.
Yeah,
I keep getting texts from freaking
forward, not backwards.
Yeah.
voting.
There you go. Well, it depends on what time zone you're in.
exactly.
So time travel is invented. You get in your time machine. You're at a point in space. Well, the Earth is somewhere. You go back in time, and the Earth is here. You're here, so you're just in that void of space. And so that's what. That's
Time
just one
is.
thing. Yeah. That's so. Because think about it, when you're traveling back in time.
Sorry.
Come on.
Someone sent me something on Facebook.
Focus.
All right.
So you're traveling through space, not.
So what
you
he's
can't
saying
you can't
is
travel physically.
that the reason why time
Back to
traveling
Earth.
would never work is because our planet is free falling in space.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to go back to time, you'd go back to
Where
a void
did
in
we
space.
Where did we come up with the planet is free falling? Is that's just a random theory? Like maybe just like what if it is free falling?
Yeah. What if it is? Because maybe that's the reason why we've never met a time traveler. Seriously.
Because hold on, it's not. I'm only laughing because he's laughing.
I know.
So this dude invents time travel. He's like, "Fuck, it works!" And he's like in nowhere. He's
Yeah,
just like
he
in
just-
space.
yeah.
Like,
Showed to
Fuck.
me.
it worked, but I'm in a void.
You can't
Yep.
argue that. Though.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
legit. So you'd have to. I'm thinking.
Yeah, because you gotta try and disprove it. You can't.
Well, you could time travel to the future, but you'd have to figure out where the Earth is
Yeah,
gonna
so
fall
you
at.
have to think about it. Well, you can go to the future. That's why we haven't met any time travelers because we're not in the future. We're
So
in
they're
the
just
present.
floating in space.
So you'd have to create like a transport pad in the spot so you could travel through time, space, all that.
No, you
To-
gotta
onto-
put in
onto
the
Earth.
coordinations.
The coordination.
But
Yeah.
you know, there's flat earthers that believe the Earth is constantly going up, right? That's a common.
It depends on
Is
which
that
way
the-
you look at it.
Yeah, what is? Well, you mean up as in?
Well, that's how they. Now, first off, let me just qualify this by saying there's like a bazillion flat Earth theories, right? There's they're like unlimited. So one problem, and there are what's called shills, and shills are people who make a name for themselves that adopt completely retarded ideas, or they don't adopt them. This is all intentional by design, and so when you go out there and you're like, let me look into this flat Earth thing, and they go, yeah, and our God's a fucking chipmunk, right? Or just some retarded ass shit, right? And they do that intentionally so that you instantly go,
This is
is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
retarded, right?
Yeah.
So you know, if you were gonna look into the flat Earth, you'd want to look at like Eric Dubay or Jaron from Jaronism or Rob Skiba or Antonio Subaratz, or there's a really and if you don't know that, the losers, the shills are winning, right? You'll go to a shill site. But anyway, back to your thing. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
So that's an interesting concept, because although it'd be, even with the Earth going up, if you time travel,
Yeah.
you'd be below it and you'd just be falling, right?
Exactly.
Or you'd be floating or whatever. But that's interesting. I never thought about that. That's like
Yeah.
an interesting one. Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Who knows?
So I can't really. You got anything to add to that? I don't know. I just,
No.
could be.
I'm still trying to figure
So
it
wait,
out.
so-
Well, you would put that in your calculations, though, right?
What?
If it's a good time machine, you would just calculate for.
But that's the thing is
You don't know how
maybe
it's
you
falling?
don't
Does it fall in
think
a
maybe you
zigzag?
don't think to put that into your calculations because you just are more worried about the equation of
Of
figuring
getting back
out
to that
time
time.
travel.
I don't know enough. You know, if you can
Know enough about what?
Time travel?
There's nothing to know. It's all made up. I think I should have a PhD in time traveling because I've seen all the movies, and I can
Back to the
poke
Future.
holes at where the timeline is going wrong and things.
Well, supposedly, and here's the thing: is supposedly we can time travel forward, but that's all based on the globular Earth model and the existence of space. So, like, if you look at all the math, they say, oh, if you travel away from the Earth at such and such, and for such amount of time at such and such speed, and come back, everyone's going to be older than you.
It's not that you time traveled. It's that
you're in a different time of.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No. So it's because you're going so fast, right? And the law. I'm not going to use big words because I'm dumb. But the faster you go, it's kind of like your molecules, like distance themselves. So time has less effect on you. So when you come back, everyone's aged more than you have. If that makes sense. Kind of like the Planet of the Apes, how they went. I know it's like the old school one, but that's
Yeah.
what it is. Is that but it's all a theory though.
Yeah.
Kind of an Interstellar. It was
It's
great.
all
Yeah,
bullshit
yeah,
because
think about
there's
There's no space.
there's no space.
But you could technically do the same thing on Earth. If you're going fast enough that time wasn't affecting you, then everybody else would be aging. Normally, you'd just be aging slowly, if that makes sense. Relative. It's all relative. Science.
Science.
Words.
So let's go on to one that we can get more input on.
Okay.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, I never heard of that. What's another thing you subscribe to? Conspiracies. You're not much
Just-
into conspiracies. You're not very.
No.
3 numbers.
3 numbers.
2 numbers.
What?
9/11.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that on here.
Why?
I'd rather talk about the reason why we haven't been to the moon.
Okay.
Because we can't.
Because we can't.
'cause
Even
the moon-
though we've been to the moon, but
We
the
haven't.
first man that was on the moon, there was like a camera watching him get off of the craft.
Yeah.
Would
And-
they like
and-
get off the craft and go Kobe?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's stuck.
And then there was a camera watching them go up when they left. When they
Exactly.
left, there was a camera panning as they went up. And
They left an astronaut.
yeah,
seriously.
and they
there
came
was
back.
there was a big team.
He was like, yeah, we got to get this shot. We'll come back. Don't worry. It was works all the time. And what was even better is when Nixon called the people on the moon and had a conversation with them
Yep.
and saying, yo, man, that was a great job. You know, just calling you with my AT&T network here.
Yeah, but I can't.
Bell South. It was really good.
I'm not allowed to have my phone off of airplane mode
Yeah.
on an
Where you
airplane.
get a spaceship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we didn't go to the moon. Man, the more I think the moon is a luminary. It's not even it's not.
Now, what is an illuminary?
A luminary means it's not a physical thing. The moon's not physical.
So you think it's projected?
It's project-
into
it
the
is,
sky?
yeah.
I have seen a couple videos on that where it's just like they put it into Photoshop, and there's actually nothing. The dark area, there's nothing there.
Well, here's the thing. There's two reasons why I subscribe to
You're
this.
talking about pictures, and you're talking about
No. I'm talking about like someone taking a picture of the moon in the night sky, then putting it into Photoshop, and then seeing how it's blotted.
Well, there's
like there. and
hold
it's
on.
not- I don't know.
There's 3 reasons that I subscribe to this theory. Number one, there's a guy named Crow777. I think it's Crow777, but he's the first guy who filmed this this wave. It's called a lunar wave. If you were to YouTube lunar waves, you'd probably hit his thing first.
Mm-hmm.
And what he filmed was this ripple traveling through the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought, okay, well, it was my equipment. Let me check my equipment, and then
Yeah.
he the background wasn't rippling. Like he went and he like inspected the video and different programs, and it was just the moon that had this ripple go through it.
Yeah.
So then he posted online, and other people contacted him from other countries. A couple other people had filmed it as well, and since that time, this has been years now. Many people have captured this ripple multiple times, many times. Now you can see videos from different people all over the earth who have captured this ripple, and they've even kind of narrowed it down to this time frame, which my memory is not good enough to remember the time frame, but they know the time frame that where the ripple's your chances of catching it
Yeah.
are more. And basically, they think it's like a reboot of a program. But what that says is the moon is a hologram, or either
Okay.
or some type of projection. But then there's 2 more reasons why I kind of subscribe to the theory that the moon is a luminary. Is that biblically it's referred to as a luminary, but also there have been videos and photos where the moon has passed over stars and the star has shined
yeah.
through the moon. And
And
obviously,
there's
it
videos
can't
that
be
show like
solid.
objects going through the
Yeah.
moon. It's,
Yes, and
I've seen them.
and then there's another reason. So there's a 4th reason, is that if you were to look at the moon, if you actually look at the moon on a full moon night, it has no characteristics of a sphere. If you were to Google sphere and look look, spheres all have shading. All right? It has it has a hot spot, and then it gets darker as you wrap around.
Yes.
Our moon has none of that. It is lit the same all the way to the edges. It has no characteristic of a sphere. It has no visual characteristics of a sphere. Even when NASA fakes imagery, at least they're smart enough to add a hot spot and characteristics of a sphere. Look at our Earth. The moon has no characteristics of a sphere whatsoever, none. It's just, and if you want to go into a 5th, let's tack on a 5th thing. And this is something you can do for yourself if you doubt it. Did you know that the moonlight is colder than shadows? So the sun is hotter than, and if the moon were reflecting the sun's rays, which is what we're told, right?
Yeah.
We say, then there's no way that the light coming from the moon could be colder
Yeah.
than a shadow. It maybe arguably you could argue, well, it should be the same. Maybe it's lost its heat in the reflection, whatever. Maybe the moon absorbed the heat, but it's not going to be colder.
No.
Moonlight, if you were to measure, is actually several degrees colder than the shade, and that tells you that the moon it's a different kind of light. It's a completely and it's not light from the sun. So
Can you explain that better? Because I'm dumb. So you're saying if you measured temperature in the shade, it'd be cooler
At
than
nighttime.
at nighttime?
yeah,
That's
at
what
night.
So
and
not the shade, the light,
The light from the moon is cold.
Yeah.
Dur.
Than
It's cold.
shadow.
You can even say it's cold. It is
Yeah.
cold. It's
Yeah.
colder. So take a measuring device. What a lot of people use is those lasers. Just measure shade somewhere, anywhere. You can put a board down and half the board in the shade. Leave it there for a little bit. Let it adjust to the
Yeah, do
temperatures.
its thing.
Measure the shade, and then measure the moonlight. The moonlight's colder.
That's insane.
It is insane.
and it should be. I mean, common sense says it.
Yeah, because light's
should be-
energy.
Lights.
Well, yeah, that's if it is light.
And these are things, but what
Mind
people don't
expansion.
understand is like people laugh instantly when you mention and frankly I don't give a fuck. You watch Eddie Bravo or you watch Joe Rogan, they talk about
talk about
flat
it
Earth all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And people who laugh at it, the thought of it, they're just uneducated. They're not taking part in the argument. If you were to look at the evidence, there are so many aspects. So you can talk about moon, you can talk about stars, you can talk about moon landing, you can talk about agreements and treaties, and there's you can talk about measuring water. You can talk about there's a million things you're ignorant of, and if you were to weigh the evidence, in my opinion, it's like it's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even there's anyone who I believe. You look at the people that have gotten into it, right? Like, listen to Eddie talk about it. Listen to Crone talk about it. They had people hounding them, and they're just like, dude, you're fucking nuts, man. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. And then finally, you look at it, and the phase. There's like 3 phases. There's phase 1, which is leave me the fuck alone. You're a retard. Phase 2 is you look at the videos and you're like, damn, this could actually work. And then phase 3 is. Maybe this is the case, and then phase 4 is it's fucking flat. You know, the Earth is. I'm a flat. I'm not a troll, man. I looked at the evidence, and the most damning evidence is measuring water. If you want to be a flat earther tomorrow, or you want to go measure 7 miles of water, people don't understand the amount of curve. There's a lot of fucking curve on the Earth. It's 8 inches per mile squared. 8 inches per mile squared. Okay, so
I just think that I don't, that the Earth is so big though that I don't think that 1 mile makes that huge of a difference. 7 inches.
what? No, 8 inches
8 inches.
squared. So once you go 7 miles, now you're. Oh God, I don't.
A lot of math.
Yeah, there's do math here.
Yeah.
7 times 8, but
let's see.
Such a dramatic drop. Maybe if I would say maybe if you went to the top of Mount Everest, right, then you'd have to see some kind of stuff.
No, you don't. There's
you
none.
can't even.
There's none.
I saw a chart. If ISS was real, if it is up there,
You couldn't see it from
you
there.
couldn't even see the curvature of the Earth from that far.
You can't.
Because
How far can you see when you're up that high though?
look, I'll show you I'll show you the graph.
There's plenty of
sea
people,
level, you can probably see a
and that's the
couple miles.
frustrating thing. It's like the average retard will tell you when you go, "Hey, dude, you should look into it." They'll go, "I've seen the curve from an airplane." It's like, really? Because science
you?
says you
Possible.
can't.
Have
You
you?
know, you defied science because you can't see curvature from Mount Everest. There's people that do panos from Mount Everest, and it's flat as fuck. And also, what people don't understand is when you're looking out over the ocean, you wouldn't be able to see if it were curving this way. You'd just see the top, right? But
Been there.
we can see side to side for 20, 30, 50 miles.
Yeah.
And you can see that that's flat as hell. And the curvature of water is actually, that has to observe the curvature of the Earth. And there's no curvature. There's none whatsoever. And there should be a lot there, not a little. There should be a lot of curvature.
Yes.
That's an interesting argument.
It is an interesting argument. I love it because the ramifications of it are that I think everyone should be super interested in it because it would change everything. It would change. I don't care who you are at your core. It would change you. Some people claim to be religious, right? And I think they're not like they're actually just they're not really religious. They say they're religious, but they don't really believe that there's.
There's always a little bit of doubt in some people.
And if they were truly religious, then they'd back up their Bible. The Bible says the Earth is flat. But that's a whole other thing. When you look into it and you say, wow, the Earth is flat. Everything I can... then all of a sudden, you become religious. Like
And religious though, in what sense? What religion do you believe? Is there a flat Earth religion?
Well,
Right?
let's put it
There
this
is.
way.
There's a religion about everything.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's put it this
yeah.
way.
'Cause there's-
If let's say you found out, or you came to believe strongly, like basically with zero doubt, that there's a firmament or a dome above and this ungodly expanse, you would know that there's a creator and a designer. You would know that because that could only be done by what we would consider
Yeah.
a god.
Yeah, because think about it. The Truman Show, the movie. What if that's this?
Yeah. To a much
But
greater
that's the
extent.
thing. That's the thing. We're all not in on it.
Yeah.
Because have you ever heard of the zoo theory? Aliens are out there, but we're just being watched.
Yeah. And like, I was watching Eddie talk about the other day, and I hadn't thought about it because I was like, man, this kind of ruined it for me for aliens. I was like, the flat Earth thing, I stopped looking at aliens, and someone asked Eddie about aliens, and he said, yeah, it could still be aliens. He says, like, what if this plane we're on's endless? Like, it's an endless flat plane, and we're one race, you know, in one containment area, and there's another race in another containment area, or maybe some of the out you know, expanses or outer lyings or whatever you want to call them, maybe they're not caged like we are.
Yep.
Maybe they're free to travel. Maybe we're just that one zoo area, and they eventually they find ways to pop into our area, whether they tunnel under or whatever they figure out. So there could still be aliens. Could still be.
Back to the moon thing, because I was trying to talk. It's funny. Like,
We don't
how-
we don't care when you do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's funny how people like they'll defend like what they know, but then they don't know what they think they know. I was talking to someone, I'm not gonna say who, and I asked them like, does the moon spin? Like, does the moon revolve as well? And they said, yeah. I'm like, that's weird. Isn't it strange that every time you look at the moon, it's exactly the same
Yeah.
moon?
Yep.
Like the same craters, same everything. And he or she didn't believe me until he or she Googled it. And I was like, oh, like, you see, like, you're defending something
Yeah.
you know nothing
They know
about.
nothing about.
Because you're taught, like, hey, this is how it is.
Here's another one.
And nobody lies to us.
Here's another one that got me. Here's a really good one for the people that didn't believe in a flat Earth. And if they just look in it, if they just look into it, right? And I got in an argument with a fucking pilot, man. I told him to come to my school so I could beat his ass. So airplanes have gyroscopes, and a gyroscope observes a principle called rigidity in space, where whatever angle you spin it up at, it will maintain that angle, whichever, and it has 360 degrees of angle.
Yeah.
It can go like this, and you can freeze it at any point in time, and it'll maintain that rigidity. You can walk around, walk upstairs, you can turn sideways, you can do whatever you want, but that thing's not going to change its angle. So they gauge these things on the ground, and so you know you're locking it to a level plane, and they fly away. And pilots use it to gauge whether they're leaning left or right when they're flying,
Yeah.
right? But it also observes front to back. And they use this for yaw and pitch, right? So pilots are taught to keep it perfectly level, right? So a pilot is at 500 miles an hour. They should be dipping down roughly 31 miles of dip. 31. 30. That you can do the math. This is science. Science says for 500 miles, there's 31 miles of dip. Pilots will fly for 2,000 miles and never dip down their nose, ever. And the gyroscope, they're taught to keep it, you know,
flat
perfectly
level.
flat and level for 2,000 miles. Now, I know that for that amount of time, that gyroscope will observe the original orientation, and people have proved this. So explain that. Explain where's the 2,000 miles of dip over, you know, it's not there.
It's not.
You're not
Yeah.
flying over any curvature. So it's a huge I think what
It's a good
happened is the argument's been going on for a long time, right? And it was never settled. And what happened is, if you ask me, when science came to a point where it could prove, like we said, oh, let's try to go to the moon, and then someone fucking blows up, and we launch a rocket, and they're like, oh shit, there's some shit we can't get through up there. Someone really smart said, whether it was in cooperation with the government or not, they said, man, if we get a what's the word for it? A monopoly on this.
Okay.
We can maintain the illusion that there is space, and we can profit greatly from it, like
Yeah.
insanely. We'll keep them, So if you look at NASA and ESA, they all work together. NASA, there's only a few countries that have space programs. Only a few
Yeah.
of them that have the money to do it. But in 2016, the budget was the national space budget was $306 billion. And what are you cranking out? A little bit of
Yeah.
CGI, a couple $1 million a year of CGI.
Yep. Just keeping the rest of that money.
Yeah. So I'll look at it.
But don't we have more asteroids hitting the Earth too? That's another thing I think about. Like, we see it a lot in the movies and stuff. If we're really a ball floating in space
Yeah.
with
Oh yeah.
other things floating around us, why isn't there more? Like, and
Yeah.
their reason is because a lot of it burns up in our atmosphere.
But at the same time,
Which I call
if you go
BS.
out to the deserts, there's all these huge ass craters
That we're supposed to believe
Yeah.
that happened from
Yeah.
asteroids and meteorites
Yeah.
and all that.
And,
Which,
and it's weird that, I mean, in my lifetime I've never had
I've never
seen it on the news or in a newspaper.
Meteor strike.
Meteor strike in
Yeah.
so and so area.
I just thought about that right now. That's true. And if the whole firmament thing, like, if we're gonna treat that as fact, which we should, that would make sense why we don't have meteor strikes, or maybe because there is no space at all.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Like, we never have meteor strikes or anything.
Because isn't it 3 decades to create a lie, make it true?
Yeah. 3 generations.
Yeah, 3
Yep,
generations.
that's
sorry.
right. I watched a video on that just the other day.
Yeah.
They said it takes about 30, 35 years, something like that.
Exactly. So we talk about asteroids, but
We all
who
believe
really,
it.
who
Oh,
really
here's-
knows?
Here's a fucking good one. Here's a good one.
All right,
this
here we go.
isn't conspiracy. This is fact. You're gonna love this. Who's heard of the Holodomor? The Holodomor.
Sounds something like Lord
Okay,
of the
so
Rings.
check it out. Yeah, I know. So, I'm all into, my German history and whatnot. My mom's German. I'm always watching German videos. I'm always researching conspiracies and whatnot. So, watched a couple videos. One of them's called Hitler, the greatest story, Adolf Hitler, the greatest story never told. Another one's called Adolf Hitler versus the Jew World Order. Another one's called Europa, the Last Battle. These three, I'd say, watch together, and you will be thoroughly mind blown. But what I didn't know was that, the Tsars, Russia used to be ruled by Tsars, and they got taken out by Bolsheviks, and Bolsheviks were, well, I'm not going to get into that, but basically, they were part of a Jewish agenda, right? Part of this, they were like Zionists, okay? So when this happened, when the Tsars got taken out and the Bolsheviks came to power, anyone who spoke negatively about them or didn't accept them, and man, they opened up hundreds, if not thousands, of death camps all across this Trans-Siberian Railway through Russia. And they killed 10 million, I don't know what the word for it, but basically people who disagreed with the Bolshevik agenda, right? Now, 10 million. Do you know what was on the entryway to every single, what they had over the doorway? Work will set you free. Work will set you. See, I always attributed this to Hitler, because this is what they show you. When they show you all the death camps, or the concentration camps, they say, Arbeit macht frei, which is work will set you free in German.
Okay.
But isn't that interesting that Hitler kind of, in a way was saying, you all did this to someone else. Here's some of your own medicine. It's they say that 6 million, there goes that sound, I'm listening for it. They say that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust, but 10 million people died in the Holodomor, right? So look that up. Watch it. If you want to really watch some history about it, watch Europa, the Last Battle.
Yeah.
And I
Always
promise,
learning.
you
Yeah,
won't.
never heard any of this.
Yeah, I've definitely got to look into that. Wasn't that Netflix or?
YouTube. It's
YouTube?
free.
Okay.
It's called Europa, the Last Battle. It's absolutely
History is
enthralling.
written by the victor.
History
really
is
is.
written by the
It
victor,
is.
no doubt about
Not
it.
wrong about that.
But I, there's more I could say about this, but I would get labeled a racist, and I'm not a racist. I'm not even remotely. But I do like discussing these videos. But at the same time, there's things I can't say because it'll be misinterpreted that these
true.
are my beliefs, right?
I'm
That's all I think.
triggered right now. I'm triggered.
So
Is that why you stopped coming to class?
I stopped coming to class because my child gave me a cold, and I believe that they are the carriers.
when you say your child, do you mean your girlfriend?
No,
Okay.
no.
When you say cold, do you mean testicles?
What conspiracies are you into, Brenden? You never talk about any.
I don't. I've throttled back, and I get entertainment, and I listening to yours. I go and I research those, so I'll look into this stuff.
What do you mean throttled back?
I was watching, like, I got into the Anunnaki and the aliens for a bit,
Okay.
but I don't know, it's kind of died out.
Like what kind of aliens?
You know,
Like,
we've never had an
don't know.
9/11 conversation.
do you mean like the
He
Aztecs?
doesn't want to. You're gonna
Well,
violate it.
then he can just stay quiet.
I mean, you guys can talk about it all you want.
Well, so you've never. You never heard of the Anunnaki and
Oh shit! You gotta
Egyptian-
Zechariah Sitchin. You gotta go down that
Zechariah
road,
Sitchin.
man.
All right.
Zechariah Sitchin.
Yeah,
Right?
All right.
we're educated. We know how to say it.
They're woke.
Yeah.
A little bit. Well, because in the
I think they were the
megalithic,
watchers.
is it megalithic structures?
Yeah, megalithic structures.
So
Yeah.
like the fact that there's pyramids everywhere in different continents, and they were built thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they have the same architecture.
Yeah.
To a point. I mean, they're designed basically the same way. They're putting these, positions of the Earth, where they line up with certain stars. And it's just fascinating. How did these primitive people, right, create these structures?
Yeah, I got you.
So do you know the difference between a megalithic structure and a monolithic structure?
Mono's one.
Mono's one.
Right. So for example, Stonehenge is a monolithic because
'Cause
it's
there's only
single
one.
stones.
Yeah.
Right. When they start putting multiple stones together, you have megalithic structures.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But if it's just like Easter Island, that's monolithic, right? It's just one stone per structure. One stone is a structure.
So you can say I'm still interested in that. Like that still
Yeah.
amazes me because you've got different religions, different cultures, right? And they all kind of tell the same story too.
Yeah, they have the same
Like-
gods holding the same little
Yeah.
purses. And
I mean, that's the thing.
Stuff like that.
I mean, if you think about
And
it,
then what-
like the pyramids of Egypt.
right. They were built, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this big flood. Everybody's taken out, right? And then you get back to like people that can't even build.
Wait, the pyramids happened after the flood.
No, they were before.
What? No.
Yeah.
No.
Pretty
Fake
sure.
news.
Pretty sure.
I don't know.
before.
Fact
Pretty
check.
sure.
Fact check.
I'm
No,
pretty
no,
sure
no,
no, sure.
Noah
Well, you can't.
happened,
You-
and then the pharaohs built everything.
Well,
No.
it's not something that's provable because you can't date it, and there's no reliable. Some people, some biblical scholars believe that Enoch built the. If you watch it, you can see videos of it. Like it's called the Pillar of Enoch. Some people attribute Enoch to having built the pyramids, and Enoch was before the floods. So, but there's no proof, right? I think, what do they say? I think they say the pyramids are like 4,000 years old. I think that's mainstream. But then
they're
there's people
figuring
that
it
are saying it's like
way older.
13 to 20,000 years old
Which
now. Or something.
the Earth's
And
not
there's,
that old.
and there's like these whole cities that are still buried, right? That they're
Well,
taking out now.
they say that Göbekli Tepe is
Göbekli Tepe,
13,000 years old.
So,
Yeah.
so I mean,
We'll
you're
see.
you're super into the Bible, right? I mean, you are not really
Sure.
anymore. Do you know what year the flood happened?
No.
2335 or 2350.
2350 BC.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So it's saying that the pyramids were at 2550. So that was BC.
Yes, that's
so,
older.
Yeah. So the pyramids were before
Holy shit, I didn't know
the
that.
flood.
Bingo.
Yeah, but at the same time, like nobody,
You can't prove it.
you can't prove any
Yeah,
of that.
that's true.
Like there's people that
Yeah.
argue it, but yeah, mainstream. Like I
never would've thought
I
of that.
tend to believe today. If you ask me, I do tend to believe that the pyramids were pre-flood, just because of it's actually talked about. It's called watch a video called the Pillar of Enoch. I think you'd enjoy it. I think you'd be thoroughly enthralled.
It makes sense now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because the Bible does talk about pharaohs a lot.
Fake
like
news.
Moses.
Well, but also, if you look, they said that the quarry, where they dug out around the Sphinx and they built the pyramids, they said it had like crazy massive water erosion. Like it had rained for like, I don't know, decades or something.
Yeah. It's like winter. Game of Thrones.
They say, the Game of Thrones writer or director, whatever, they
Yeah,
say he's a
George
flat
R. R.
earther.
Martin.
Yeah, they say
Yeah,
that
I've
person's
heard
a flat
that,
earther.
yeah.
And hence why they have the
wall.
wall, right?
Oh,
the
shit,
ice
yeah.
wall. Yeah, that's what they
Yeah,
say. He's a
man.
flat earther. But honestly, this is what's mind-blowing, right? Is I think that when you get to be like elite wealth, you're given exposure to people that will never have that privilege. Like
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati. Basically answers to questions we'll never know. They're like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
you didn't know that? Yeah, Earth's flat as fuck, bro. We all know that. This is
Yep.
like this is a secret we keep, we keep the mainstreamers away from.
It's like the
And I think
Ark of the Covenant.
I think they have rules. And if you break the rule, they can kill you. This is my belief system. Like they have rules about how you're allowed. You can't just come out and go, hey, the earth is flat. But like take Jim Carrey. Dumb and Dumber walks at the thing. whoa, no kidding, we landed on the moon. And then you see him on multiple talk shows.
Yeah.
And he's like, every time he's like, oh, you fucking think we landed on the moon? He's like, he's like, can you believe people buy that? He's like cracking up. Every time he comes out, he always has a moon landing thing on or some dude in space. Just go back and look. And he recently released a private, he just made his own little 15-minute short. And he's in the desert. There's no talking. Oh, there it goes. We'll give it a second, and I'm gonna troubleshoot it. There's no talking in the video, but he's wandering through the desert, and he has this. If you look closely, he has a NASA hat on.
Oh.
And it's all dirty. He's all dirty, like something's happened. It's like post-apocalyptic. And he runs to this guy who's looking for his daughter, and he helps the guy, he feeds him or something, and then he's leaving. They're parting their ways, and the guy's like, I don't know where I am. I'm lost. He says, I'm lost. Can you help me? And Jim Carrey doesn't say anything. You know, he's this burly character, big beard, and he digs in his little satchel, and he gives the dude a snow globe, and then he's like, heads on his way. Now you've got the NASA hat. Right? And then you've got the snow globe, and like Jim Carrey is always trying to tell people, always, at least something regarding, I think we didn't go to the moon, flat earth, firmament, it's
all symbols.
He's
Yeah.
not a
It's
dumb.
a lot of
yes,
symbolism.
You're allowed to do that. I think he just can't come out and say it. He can't come out and say I was told, but I don't think he's crazy. I don't. I think he knows more than I know. If you look at it, if you just look at the evidence, it's commonsensical to me. But no one looks at the evidence. I wouldn't entertain that for years. I only looked into it because someone in my family, who I love, hounded me every single day. And you know why I looked into it? I went to go find empirical proof that the earth is round. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to go find empirical proof and you know, so they start talking this madness, right? Go look for that. Go look for the proof. So I'm like, let me just get a picture of Earth and send it to them. There's no
There's
picture
not
of
one.
Earth.
There's not.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, let me get a picture of a planet. And then you find out NASA admits it's all CGI. There is no picture of a planet, right? They'll say it's a picture of a planet, but then you find out they reuse it 4 years later. And then you say, well, I'll send them video of the ISS. And then you find out that that's all fake. It's all CGI. And then you're like, well, you know, and then you start looking a little bit. You're like, well, this is interesting. Let me look around. And you're like, oh, wait a
yeah.
minute. People are measuring hundreds of miles of water, and it's flat, and it should have like miles of curvature. And then there's all these impossible. Every corner, everywhere you turn, you're like, your empirical evidence gets shut down big time. And you're like,
Yeah.
the only empirical evidence out there is that the Earth is flat. That's the only true empirical evidence.
Brendan's over here waking up right now.
No, yeah, well, no.
And it makes more sense too. Like if you were gonna think about it, like how would you design a planet? Obviously, you'd probably say a sphere, but that wouldn't make sense. Like it doesn't. Like it really doesn't.
I don't get how the water.
I mean, would that be ideal?
Huh? Exactly, because water takes the lowest
Why
point,
doesn't
right?
water fall?
Water-
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, if it were round, right.
Yeah,
if it were
it'd be
Well,
half the Earth would be water.
The South Pole wasn't.
I got a question for you. So it says that we know more about space than we do about our oceans.
Right.
How is that if we've never been to space?
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. I mean,
We never went to space. The Russians tried it, and they were killing what are they called?
Cosmonauts.
Cosmonauts, left and right. And then we did it, and we not only did we go to space, we went to the moon.
yep. And then lost all the footage,
Everything.
all the technology.
The technology is gone.
Telemetry
The tradi-
data.
yeah.
And then you look at James Cameron, he can go down to the Marianas Trench on his own dime while making a movie.
Fact.
Crazy.
Interesting.
And I can download porn on my phone.
But like Bobby said, 360 or
Satellites.
what was it, $300 billion toward the space programs.
300
for
plus
NASA?
billion, yeah.
I'd
It's
keep
like
alive
what,
for that
$25
much
million
money.
a day.
I think he said 52.
$52 million.
Yeah, you gotta pay attention, bro.
Stop calling me out on bullshit.
Dude, it's the truth.
That's why you
Fake
won't.
news.
That's why you
It's
won't.
out there.
That's why you won't win the lottery.
So,
I hate you.
any other? I lost my page, man. I had this page of all this conspiracy shit I normally ask, but apparently I changed it somewhere. Let me just. Oh wait. Oh, here we go. Here's our conspiracy list. It's coming up.
But I mean, you've got Stanley Kubrick, who admittedly said that he filmed the moon landing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. Right.
Well, you just watch a documentary called Room 237, and it lays it all out. There's like some uncanny you know, he's got the crest of the Rothschilds in his movie on the chair they're sitting on. He uses this special calculator. He's got Tang in the food room, and Tang is by the astronauts, and then he's got this. The floor represents where it was filmed somehow at the filming location, and then 237 represented 237,000 miles to the room, and he wanted to use that specific room number. And there's a million, you know, obviously a million's an exaggeration, but there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah, a lot of analyzing, over-analyzing. I feel like sometimes when just sitting right in front of you.
Well, like all the imagery they get from these telescopes and everything, they're raw data, and like you were talking about, like they have like they're like cosmologists, artists, like they're called artists, and it's their job to interpret this raw data, and then they make what they think the raw data is telling them, which is bullshit. Yeah, I don't think that would work for anything. That wouldn't work for anything else.
Nope.
Yeah, what they have is, I think we do have things up in the sky that, like, they could be balloons. Like, here's the thing: is like this newest project going on right now is called Google Loon, and Google Loon is going to put internet all over the world with balloons. And why the hell would you even need that if we had fucking 20,000 satellites, right? But no, Google, we're doing it with balloons. You know, we're going to do it fucking. Look at why the hell do we have this crazy expensive project called Google Loon going on, where we're going to have essentially satellites on balloons? Why would you need that if we had satellites? But whatever's in the sky, it takes strip pictures, you know, of our planet, or plane, whatever you want to call it, and then they just wrap it around a ball. I mean, it's just that simple. Yeah. Some people think the Himawari satellite takes photos of the Earth, and it doesn't. Those are stitched together too, and there's videos out there that prove it because they had a FTP site they left open, and people went out there and grabbed all the strip photos and saw it, and there was like, okay, yeah, they're definitely strip photos. But there's people out there that believe that the Himawari every 10 minutes is taking a fucking real-time image of our Earth. And if it were, why would it be a fucking image every 10 minutes? It'd just be a constant feed.
Yeah.
And then there's people that look at Tesla and they go, well, oh, Elon Musk, he fucking shot something into space, so it's got to be real. Because I was down with Elon Musk. I was like, man, he was just a cool dude, just crazy smart. I always respect people more intelligent than me. But some chick found out, she analyzed his film of his car in space, and she found out that the Earth in the background was a loop. It was the same exact, when the Earth would spin back around, the clouds in the same position. It was clearly a loop, clearly. And I could send anyone the link. I should post it on the video right here, but I'm too lazy to go back and do editing. But if you search for it, Tesla busted by, I think the girl's name is Bling Bling. I think her name is like something like that. She's a flat earther, and she just goes out and picks apart these videos. But unquestionably, Elon Musk fakes SpaceX. Like, just watch that video, and if you have a doubt, just explain to me how the clouds don't move in 24 hours at all. Like, this does not happen on Earth. Look at any quote unquote real, you know, where they're smart enough to change stuff like this. And then, you know, Elon Musk, one of the first things he said in his interview was, well, you know it's real because it looks so fake. Yeah, it does look fake as fuck.
It's kind of like, oh, you're so dumb that it has to. I'm smart.
I know.
Yeah,
well,
I don't know.
And people, there's a million reasons. I could just sit here and go on and on all day long, but we'll move off of that because I want to do a flat Earth episode one day where I just bring someone in and debate flat Earth all day long. I'd like to be on a team that debates flat Earth. If I could get paid for that somehow, I would.
Professor of flat Earth.
Go to the local college.
I'm going to come up with Flat Earth Guard. I don't know how it's going to work, but somehow I want a guard named after me in the Flat Earth.
You just lay flat
Yeah.
and guard your neck.
Yeah.
Flat Earth guard. Like a jiu-jitsu move. It's flat Earth. Just got that.
Because you haven't been to class for a while.
It's the medication.
So who do you think runs the world?
Who I think runs the world?
Yeah. Who do you think the highest powers are in this world?
President of the United States.
No.
He's nobody.
No, he's a pawn.
He's a pawn.
No,
he's a pawn.
No, he's a. Who I think it's whoever has the most money. I think it's the Illuminati, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's
I think
the Rothschilds.
Man.
They own 90% of all
Well,
the businesses in the world.
Yeah, I mean, well,
East India Trading Company.
you know the Rothschilds. You know what they're. See, it's interesting. You know when you. God dang, I want to go down this road.
Don't do it.
And I don't want to get
Don't go
labeled.
there.
I get
Don't
labeled
go
like a
there.
motherfucker,
No.
man.
Don't.
Okay,
Just
It's not a good idea.
We know.
so
I'm with
the
you.
Rothschilds. Yeah, they're part of a group that runs the whole world. They're
Yeah.
unquestionably part of a group that runs the world, and it's not anyone that thinks like our government or any other government. We're just pawns. They're just slaves to this group, right? And they're just the only people. Everyone that's chosen for a candidate, like they let us vote, but they choose the people we vote for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
we talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
I shared a video on Facebook today. Are you still
I
in
don't
jail?
even look now. I get pissed off because I want to like shit.
Are you
And like,
still in jail?
I'm still in jail. People mess. You know how fucked up Facebook is? I spent money to advertise my business on Facebook. I paid for that.
Yeah.
People
couldn't do
message me and they're like, "Hey man, what time's your school open?" And I can't even respond to that. I can't even. So it's like
Yeah.
a month's gonna go by, and that's kind of fucked up because I spent money for
Can
that.
you? Now,
I can't like something. I can't reply to a message.
Can you see it though? Like me and Alex,
Yeah, I
we're
can
all
see-
on a
yeah, I
messenger
can see it,
thing.
yeah.
So you can see what
You can't even
he's saying.
respond. You can't respond on Messenger either.
No, I can't respond on Messenger.
Remember
And
when you're like, hey, if you he said something about if you believe the Earth's a sphere, don't respond. And
Yeah.
he didn't respond. I
so
was like, you're such a dick.
And you know, we have our checkmate group, and this is how I
Communicate with
communicate to people
Class.
about class, times changing or whatnot.
Stop posting pictures of scrotums.
There are 3 people that have asked for permission, parents, because I tell everyone, go join this group. I can't even let them in the group. They're like, they requested to join, and I'm like, it won't even let me approve someone.
Can you add an administrator right now? Like,
No,
you're-
so I thought, well, let me go add an administrator. Well, let me do that. You can't do shit on Facebook. Facebook jail's
Wow.
legit. It's like,
Dang.
it's fucking hardcore.
How many days?
I don't know. I think I got like 2 weeks left.
Dang.
And I've had people messaging me that I don't have my number. They're like, yo, man, we still going to meet up? And I'm like,
I wish.
I'm a dick. Everyone just thinks I'm a dick now. And I think I have friends that like, they notice they haven't heard from me in a while, that I always chime in on
You
their
give them
shit.
the
And they start
silent
tagging
treatment.
me, right? They're like, and I'm like, I can't say anything, man.
Getting the silent treatment.
You should probably have a second Facebook account now for
Yeah.
when this happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
nobody,
say
nobody
that's
does
illegal though. They
that.
say if you
What?
get caught, you're not even allowed to.
Yeah.
The Facebook rules and regulations say you have to use your real name. You can't
Yeah.
have
You can
some
get
fake
reported.
ass name. Yeah, they'll delete your.
Well,
account.
you have 2 accounts on Facebook. When I tried looking for you, have a Bobby and a Robert.
I have an old account that I haven't used in ages.
It's probably confusing people.
It took me a while to figure it out.
But you can't delete accounts. All you can do is disable it.
But if you
can't delete a
disable it,
Facebook
you
account.
won't find it on the search anymore.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Yeah, one I was using for, like acting. I was like trying to get into acting for a while, and I had this acting profile. It's pretty. I did get on Burn Notice 3 times.
Did you really?
Nice.
I used to watch the show all the
Yeah,
time.
3 times. I was
You
what's
were in
called
Miami?
a-
Did you go to Miami?
yeah, I was a featured extra. So I was
awesome.
like, it's pretty cool.
Do you have like what do they call headshots?
Oh yeah, I've had headshots. I had multiple.
Did you have lines?
In certain things, like not on Burn Notice. I was talking on Burn Notice was interesting. I'll tell you about that. But I did do an ID, an investigation discovery, where I was a cop in the full uniform, and I'm talking with the detective, and I'm like I'm a recurring. It was pretty cool. I heard it again.
Why did I never know about this?
Yeah.
Dude, you need to write a book, bro. I'm not even
I was, and then I got like a lead role of this movie called. It was a short. It was called Instinct, but like my dog got killed, and I went crazy. It's a long story. I ran over my dog, and I cried, and I was like, I was fucking.
You're in a movie?
Well,
Yeah.
it's a short, but I can share it. It's like it's funny.
Definitely
funny.
It's called Instinct? I gotta write this
It's
down.
on YouTube. Yeah, I'll
What?
send you the link. It's funny.
And how many times?
But yeah, I was on Burn Notice.
I
was
love
on
that
ID,
show.
I was on. I did some other things too. I did a lot of. I played a colonel or something in some movie filmed in Atlanta called. I don't remember the name of it, but I'm in a war room and they're asking me. I'm like, yeah, you know, such. What I had lines. You know, it was pretty cool.
What movie was that?
I gotta look it up. I don't know. I had a.
This is so.
You're just like,
You know, the
Can I have
Instinct.
your autograph?
That's so cool. Yeah, that's interesting as fuck.
But they don't pay much.
You should start.
know,
You should do some headshots and while you're unemployed.
You know, if they ever made a live action Rick and Morty, I could see you playing Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the hair.
yes.
You'd be a good Rick.
That'd be a good time.
That show was so
We should
funny.
do that.
Did you
I
finish it
I
yet?
had fun. If I
Gosh,
had
how do you not finish it?
if I had the money, I would just start filming my own shorts and my own. I would film some shit for sure.
So Burn Notice, was like they fly you down there or like?
No, I
or
drove
you-
down. They give you like $150 for the day, and they give you food. They feed you. You know, it's so you walk away with $150. You know, there was this scene where they were all in a warehouse, and I'm one of the bad guys. Like first, I'm like guarding. You know, you see them walking in, I'm sitting there guarding the door, and then like one of the main actors, like one of the top 3 or 4 guys, were like talking about where we're gonna go around and find people and kill them or something. And I'm sitting there going, you know, like because I can't say anything, because if you say anything, they got to pay me $860, even if I say one word.
Oh really?
Yeah, if the word is heard, right? If I say a line and they use it, right? But like, there was another day when I was there, and I was like, I was background, and I was background. They were on this rooftop, and there was a pool, and they're, you know, and they put me with these 3 girls, and they're like, yeah, just kind of act like you're talking to them at the pool and whatnot. And later on, when you watch it, they put in music, and you look, and there's like everyone's talking and having a good time. But the reality, I was when they're filming it, it's dead quiet.
Yeah.
Because they're just getting the voices of the actors talking.
Yeah.
And you're sitting here with these girls, and this is hard. Like when you've never done this, and you're like you're because there's no conversation. You're like. And you don't know when to switch, because you're like,
Yeah.
you didn't really say anything. So you look at someone else and you're like, what? You're sitting there doing shit like that. And you feel so weird,
Oh
because
my
I'm just
gosh.
sitting there, and this is going on for a couple hours. They're doing takes and retakes, and you're just sitting there with these 3 girls going,
You know what's funny? Everyone listening on the
they're
podcast,
like,
they have
no,
no
they're
idea.
not
What's
gonna
wrong with
get.
the sound?
You
Like-
need to watch it on YouTube to get this part. I just
Bobby
thought
just moving his lips
But it was-
and looking at me.
yeah, but you do get to see these like ultra high paid actors that are making like $250,000 an episode, you know, like or some ridiculous money, and they're within 10 feet of you, and it's just kind of cool. It's kind of, you know, you kind of admire these guys, right? But there was this one guy, and he's been in some movies. He's got the gray slick back hair. He's older. He's like a gangster looking dude, you know. And I have a hard time. My memory is bad. I can't remember lines, right? And this dude couldn't remember shit,
Oh, geez.
right? Like the Hispanic dude, the number 2 guy on the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
That dude never looked at his lines. He had like 50 lines, and he was just like effortless. He's just there, you know. He just whips them out, and I'm like, damn, that's badass, man. I could never be that dude. And then the gray-haired dude, who's a great actor, is in between every take. He's got it tucked under his jacket. He just, you know, looks at it again. It's like, this dude he does no homework. He just does. This fucker's like, yeah, I'm the shit. I ain't got to do homework. I just fucking read my shit when it's time. But it was interesting. It was fun. It was fun doing it. Chin would ride down with me, and
It's like
just
musicians.
made a day of it.
Yeah.
I can't remember lyrics to songs, and it amazes me that people can be up there for a
for
whole-
years, do
for
they
a
remember?
concert. Right, right.
Yeah.
And even you go back and just sing out, and not even just the lyrics, the ones that have to play guitar and play. So musicians to me kind of fascinate me with the fact that you can play an instrument, sing a song, right, at the same time.
See, for me, like
I
I
remember
might have more of a little bit of musical ability. I think that'd be easier. Memorizing lines, I think that's. I mean, you
Yeah,
have
it's
to
hard.
love how to
It's
read
hard.
one, like read, and then memorize, and then act.
I
Yeah.
hate reading.
I think that's tough. Like you watch some of these movies, these monologues, they go like 10, 15 minutes. They're just talking. Like that's a
did-
lot of talking.
Like another thing I did was a couple different Disney commercials.
Get your own IMDb page.
Yeah, I did.
Does he
I-
really?
He does. It has, so
Oh my
Burn
god!
Notice, Bloated Minds,
Yeah,
The
Bloated
Hunter,
Minds was the military one.
I'd
where I was-
Kill You,
Yeah, that's the idea.
Instinct. You got Instinct
Yeah.
on here too.
Someone
How
put
the
together-
fuck did you find that, bro? I
Someone
can't even.
put that together for you?
I can't believe you found that.
You didn't
Yeah,
make your
just-
own IMDb page?
No,
put
I did-
Robert?
Well,
Yeah, there's
well
no-
you get an
Robert
account
Thompson.
and they give you credit. They automatically tie to your account, so
Yeah, dude.
they have to like make it legit.
Yeah, wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Should add a photo.
Well, you got to pay to have a photo.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not gonna pay like $8 a month or whatever it is. So I did for a little bit when I was pursuing it, so because I would give people links to my IMDb page, but then I was like, okay. And every once in a while, I still get things come up, right? Like they're like, would you like to try out for this movie? We'll send you up to Atlanta or whatever. But I'm like, now I don't know.
Yeah, you
I have a
just-
job.
yeah.
I don't have time to do it, right? But I think if I pursued it full time, I could make a living out of it. Like
Oh, yeah.
you get
Nowadays.
gigs once in a while. Like when I would be doing the Disney commercials, which they paid pretty good, you know, it was a couple $100. You'd just go down and sit on a ride, you know, you'd get a pass for the day or whatever. But they'd film at like 4 to 6 a.m. or something, or 4 to 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Found him.
And then, like, I remember, like, they always have a main family at the time. In your background, you're just walking around eating candy or whatever. You know, it's supposed to look like it's regular, you know. But, like, I remember one of the ones I did, the guy was there with his wife and 2 kids. And I was talking to him because he's just a guy, you know, just like me. He's not, you know, but I'm talking to the dude. He's like, yeah, man, we got $5,000 for this. He goes, like, I just took off work for the day, come down with my wife and kids, and we'll spend the rest of the day in the park, and we got $5,000. I'm like,
dope.
damn, that's fucking badass. But he was the main guy. They were, you know.
Oh, okay. Just
But he
following
wasn't
out.
in, like you were an extra.
I was an extra, right?
Right. He
So
was a paid
you've
actor.
got extras, which makes like $150 a day. You've got featured extras, which make a couple $100 a day, depending on like if you have like a talent, like, oh, can you speak this language, and we need someone to speak this language, and then more if you work, right? I mean, if you
Your main
speak,
character.
yeah, you're right. If they use your words, you get the SAG minimum, which is $864.
Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
Right, so-
Yeah.
And one of my buddies got in.
Right. You have to be part of that. Right.
No, you have to qualify for that. Like, you have to be part of. I think the rule is like you have to have spoken on 2 SAG movies.
Okay.
You had to have speaking roles in 2 different SAG things, something like that.
Yeah.
I knew, and now it's been too long now, but it was something like that. Oh, I did one where I was the getaway driver in Burn Notice, and the main actor jumped in the back of my car. I'm not even joking, and they let me fucking drive, and they're
awesome.
like, take off, right? So they're like, yeah, how good do you drive? I'm like, oh, dude, I'm a fucking great driver. And I can't believe that they would risk the dude's life like this. They don't know
I'm
me.
crazy.
I'm dead serious. They fucking had me. This is the 3rd one I did. I go down there, and they're like, I'm a featured extra, and they're like, all right, you're gonna be the driver's seat, you're gonna be parked, the dude's gonna come running down the steps and out the door, he's gonna jump in, and you're gonna take off, right? And I thought, I'm gonna sell this shit. So the dude jumps in my car, and I'm like, whoa, fucking, and they're like, whoa, they all run out, whoa, stop, you know, they're like, oh, you're gonna, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, dude, I'm trying to sell it. I thought, like, I'm a getaway driver, right? They're like, no, don't really do that.
Oh my God.
But I was like, you didn't tell me not to.
Yeah.
You
You
didn't
said
give me-
get away.
Yeah, you didn't give me explicit instructions. But
What did the
I
dude
fucking-
say, the
I-
actor?
he never even. I never got to talk to him.
Oh.
Like, they don't really acknowledge you. Like they
They're
don't.
kind of above you.
Yeah, they're above you. You're just like if they started, and I think part of the reason is like if they started, it'd be, you know, it's like. I can understand the problem. If I say hi, you say hi back, then it starts a conversation. Then you got to. It's like I don't have time for that. I'm here to do a job. I got to go. It's like I can't do that to you and not do it to everybody. So either I have this thing where I talk to everybody, and then you're just all day talking, and everyone's trying to be your friend, or you're just very, dude, I'm here. I got a job to do. You know,
He's
I
in
understand.
the Sicario movies too. That guy, I don't know his name, the main actor from Burn Notice. He's in both Sicario movies. I like him.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have the big thick glasses.
But so here's what pissed me off is I got to a point where I said, look, I told my agent, I said, don't call me or anything unless it's a speaking role. From here on out, I'm only going to do this if there's a speaking role, right?
Get big time.
Yeah, I said, I don't want to, I said, if you think you got something that fits, and I might get it. And I did interview for like Magic Mike. I interviewed for some big, like I went down and I even got a call back. Like I was almost on Magic Mike. Like, you know,
Damn.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Like,
That'd have been crazy.
Yeah.
I would have been.
I know. So
That
You
would've
should
been
see Alex's eyes light up.
shit
right
almost
now.
happened,
He
you
loves
know?
to see
Actually,
Coach.
hell
I got,
yeah.
I got,
Dude, this is so cool.
I got a call back. So like I almost, you know, did something, but it was. There's probably everyone that gets into it almost did something. But anyway, so I'm like, they're like, yeah, we can get you this role. It's a featured extra. You're gonna be right there on the screen with the main actor. I'm like, what, really? I'm like, it's gonna be just like me and him. And he's like, yeah, you're gonna be driving his getaway car. And I'm like, dude, that sounds cool. Let's do it. So I go down there and I'm like, man, camera's over here. I'm in the driver's seat. It's fucking got blacked out windows. I'm talking so blacked out, like black. So if you ever watch this episode that I'm in, you'll see the credit of Burn. Watch it. You'll see the getaway car take off. You'll see him jump in. You can't even see my silhouette, dude.
Oh my God.
And I got paid to be a featured extra, right? But my agent made it sound like they don't care because they get a cut of anything. They're just
Yeah, of
trying to
course.
get you to
Yeah.
get it. But I thought I was going to be like in the mix with the guys, you know, so instead you don't even see me. So like I got paid like $400 on that, and you didn't even see me.
Nope. Yeah.
But the others, you clearly see me in the mix.
Let me just-
Do you know what episode? I'm gonna watch them all now.
Yeah.
Monsters Inc. Your face was edited out. Well, that's pretty cool.
That is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's
But I had I was my own boss. I had an IT company that, you know, there's a couple of years where I just traveled the world, right? And then I was like, whenever I'm home, I'm just gonna
do IT.
Shoot down.
Yeah,
do
just try wherever I can, you know.
Was
Just
that in
'cause-
Orlando or Miami? Or?
I did some in Orlando. I did some in Miami. I did some in
What's up with these
Atlanta.
these Disney commercials? What were
It's
they?
easy. Disney has a lot of work. They had a lot of so. I mean, if you just want to make $150 on your day off, it's. I mean, honestly, it's barely worth it. You know, it's like you're driving down to Orlando. You're spending. It's a tank of gas. You might net $100, but they feed you, so you're not spending any money on food. And usually they'll give you like a pass to Disney. You know, so
Okay.
that's worth some money. You know, but it's just resume builders. But now, if you lived in Orlando or you lived in Miami, it would actually be
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
easy to make some kind of living. Like I think anyone could make some kind of living, because you can get, if you're in Miami or Atlanta, you could get extra work every day. Now it'd only be $150 a day, but eventually you'd get
can
featured extra
feature
work,
all the
and then
time.
it'd be like 400. Oh, when I was on my second burn notice, check this out. This is really cool. There's a show in Mexico. It's actually it's like the #1 Latino show in the world. It's called Sábado Gigante.
Yeah, I know that is.
So
do.
I'm
course you do.
in this. Yeah, it's like the #1, right?
Yeah, I know.
I'm in this like pit. They have us waiting. Like they have this big area where all the extras and featured extras are waiting. They treat you like fucking cattle, right? But there's some food down there. It's not that bad. We're all waiting in this hotel where we're getting ready to go up on the roof and do some acting. But I'm hanging out with this one dude. I just kind of bonded with the dude. The dude's kind of cool. Turned out he was gay. I don't know. I don't know. But he was a gay dude. He was clearly
Hitting on
fucking
you.
gay.
Yeah,
But I was
gotcha.
like, also that I met this girl there, and she had an interesting story too, which I'll tell you. But the dude, I'm talking with him, and I'm like, yeah, man, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm trying to get back into acting. And I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, I'm a featured extra here. Here, I'm the bartender that's serving the main actors. You know, they're paying me pretty decent. It's like $750 or something. Like he gets a few words, right? He actually got a few words. So I was like, so how are you getting back into it? And he goes, well, I used to be one of the regular actors of Sábado Gigante. And I was like, you were on Sábado, because I had heard of it too. I was like, you were on Sábado Gigante? I said, oh, so you speak Spanish? He goes, no. I was like, how are you a regular on Sábado
Interesting.
Gigante?
Tell me
I'm like, this
more.
is interesting. He goes, well, I was living in, I think it was Mexico, wherever it's filmed. I forget the place. He goes, I was living there, and he goes, I was just trying to make some extra money. And I went in and I was trying to learn some Spanish. You know, he goes, but I went in for a feature. Yeah, I mean, to do some extra work on Saturday. It didn't pay very much, but it was just, you know, I wasn't doing anything. Thought I'd make some
Yeah.
extra money. So they give him this line. He's supposed to go up and say to someone, and it's in Spanish, and he butchered it. He like totally fucked it up. It like meant some
Oh.
like hilarious shit, but the crowd laughed really hard. So they brought him back. They was like, would you like to come back next week and say another line? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then the crowd laughed their asses off because he kept butchering the Spanish. He was terrible at Spanish. He didn't speak Spanish. And then they offered him a role, and the role got bigger, and until he became one of the main actors. They called him El Gringo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he had a star on his room, and it said El Gringo, and he was on for like 5 years, and he was the regular cast of Sábado
Just the-
Gigante.
He was the token white guy.
He was the token white
Yes,
guy.
he was.
And he made enough. I was like, dude, was the pay good? He's like, bro, I got a $500,000 house. He goes, I'm retired. He
crap.
goes, I made enough to pay for a nice house, you know,
Yeah.
in southern Florida. And he goes, and got a nice car. He's like, and I've got money in the bank. And I was like, damn, man. I guess he made like $1 million or $2 million. Yeah, he didn't tell me what he made exactly, but he made enough to pay for a house, and he said he loved every minute of it. So it was unbelievable. And he never expected it to happen. It just happened by accident. But then the girl, I remember the girl's name. Her name was Sharon Oliphant, and she's in my friends list. She was an aspiring actress. I don't know if she's still doing it now. But she tried out for, and she was actually in the Hunger Games. She was either an extra or featured extra. She was in 300. Remember 300?
Yeah.
She was that. She got offered a main role in 300, and she hadn't had a breakthrough role. She she had only done extra work, and they offered her the role of one of the main ladies in 300, but she had to be naked. She had to get naked.
Yeah.
I think there was a sex scene, and she had to be naked. But it was a speaking main role, and she was a pretty like religious girl. You could tell she had really good, high standards, if you will. But she turned it down because she's like, I wasn't going to get paid for that. I'm like, oh, I'd spread my lips. Hell yeah. What do you need? But yeah, so she didn't take it. So I'm like, that was her breakthrough. She got a breakthrough offer, and she didn't do it because she wanted to get naked. She goes, I won't.
Yeah, more.
I won't, betray my standards. So I thought that was pretty cool. I met some cool people. I just the thought that if she had taken that, she would have been a regular.
Oh, she would have done. She would have blown up probably.
Yeah, and even if she hadn't turned into like an A-lister, once you get a lead role on an A-list film, you're gonna do B-list movies for the rest of your life. You're gonna do what's it called, soap operas. You're gonna get, you're set from that point in time. Yeah, because it's like. Everyone's roughly the same. And when you're interviewing against these guys, they're not smarter than you. They don't have better. Rarely, once in a while, you meet some guy with some phenomenal memory or something. But they're just once you get that SAG credit, all of a sudden people are willing to pay you. Like once you're SAG, once you got that SAG thing, and you've been in something big, you got that on your resume. Now you're the choice. They want to give you that $865 a day. But they had this school in Orlando called Full Sail, and Full Sail it's a school where they teach people how to make movies. They teach you how to be directors, producers, actors, all this stuff.
I've heard of it.
But every Saturday they have tryouts, and every Saturday I would go down and do an audition for roles. They have auditioning, right? And I would auditioning because they're making these films, and the films are relatively high quality. They've got these tracks and trucks and red cameras, like that's the high level cameras that like they use in real production films, and they've got the editing software and editing rooms and sound guys and mic guys and gaffer guy, they've got all this shit going on. And it's fun. Like I'd still do that today if I had time. I'd ride down there on Saturdays and audition, and I got a few roles. I did like 3 of those little things, and they treat you like a star, like you're in the room, and they're doing your makeup, and would you like anything? Would you like anything? They got clothes for you. They're bringing you food, and it's like, at least even if it's like micro scale, you feel like Keanu Reeves. Like I felt like Keanu Reeves that day. I'm just like, damn.
Man, I don't have any cool stories like that.
I mean, you got all the time in the world, homie.
I had the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when I was like 7 or 8, my mom did something like that with me. We were living in LA. And I remember going to acting classes and like an improv class where I was up there, like with other kids, and we're just role playing and just making up shit. But it was an improv. And then I did a couple where I was an extra, like you were saying. It was for a Twilight Zone episode, I remember. And the lady was in the episode. It was a riptide pulled me out, and this lady came out and rescued me. And I remember she was like this. I was like 8, but I remember she was like super hot. And I remember it was on the beach. It was early in the morning, super cold, and they were spraying water on me. And I had like they wrapped a towel, and I just stood there, and the lady had speaking lines, and I got paid for that.
It's funny, like I think I'd be a good actor. Like I'm not saying, like I don't think I'd be good at anything else, but like we did it in the kennels a lot when I was in the Navy with Chris Nobles. He's one of our listeners now, but we would just make up, like we'll do a scenario and go, like on this you're that, and no lines, and we'll just improv, like we'll just speed off.
On it for like 30 minutes,
and
an hour.
Like I thought, everybody thinks you're good because like everybody thinks they should have their own podcast.
Well, of
what they're
course.
talking about, but I thought I was good at it. Like I don't know.
Try it out. Go to improv.
And
that's weird.
Anyone
Why?
would. I think anyone could be a great actor, and if you just get that break. Like I believe, I don't think that. Well, I'll tell you someone who I think has a legitimate skill. You want to talk about an actual. I think most actors are idiots. The bulk, 90 to 95%. I think I can do a better job. Maybe I'm just arrogant, but I'm not impressed. Like the movie made you. You didn't make the movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
99% of people,
Yeah.
right? Now, you want to talk about one person that'll make any movie? You can take a dog shit script, and he's gonna fucking rip it out of the park. It's gonna be Leonardo DiCaprio. I first saw him in The Basketball Diaries, and he played a fucking cracked out, like he was this really good basketball player. He's young. He's like 14 or 15. He's like in high school. And I thought, I remember watching him, and I was like, because at that time when I watched it like that, I'm like, I could do that, I could do better, I could do that, whatever, right? And I watched him on that, and I was like, he's got to be on crack. Like he's fucking cracked out right now. That's like, how do you? I'm just watching his hands and his fingers, and he's fidgeting, and he's like rocking, and I'm just like, I'm sold, dude. You're on crack. You know, I'm like, how did you do that? You know, so
Method acting.
yeah, I don't know, maybe he took a whole bunch of crack, but he blew my mind. Like I that's the one person in this world that fucking blew my mind. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. I can't think of anyone else that ever impressed me like that. That guy
Took him
deserves.
forever to get an Academy Award, though, right?
It did take a while. Well, like, what was it? Django Unchained?
Yeah, Django
Where he breaks his hand. Oh, he cuts his hand. Like that wasn't
real.
scripted. Like he really accidentally hurt himself, but he didn't stop. He just kept on going, kept on going.
How did he hurt his hand?
When he smashed the skull, the human skull, he actually like in the movie you see that he's bleeding. That was legit. Like it wasn't supposed to
stitches
get
and
cut.
everything.
And then he went up to the actress
The female actress
and
rubbed
rubbed his blood on her face. Like that was all.
Like
off
her
script.
reaction was real.
Yeah.
Of like
that.
did you really just do that to me?
And that wasn't scripted. Like you can Google it and see talk about it. But
Yeah, so that's how badass. See, it just goes to show you,
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
a
fucking badass.
Are you 9 to 5 right now?
all right, Friday. Start Friday.
I was gonna say that this last couple months could have been a great opportunity for you to
Start acting.
just do extra shit. Yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't know.
I didn't know, bro.
He didn't
Like
know.
it's not Bobby's fault. He had 8 months to tell me about this.
Don't show up to work Friday.
All right. Hey, babe, I'm gonna be an aspiring actor.
You get your foot in, then we'll.
There you
Dude,
go. That's
even
your
if it's
thing.
gay-
dude.
Wyatt
I
will
mean,
follow
I mean,
suit. I'll be right there.
I
with
told
Even
you.
if it's
you
gay
put your
porn,
mind to
dude, I'll do
anything.
it.
If you put your mind to anything,
Gay
I
porn
feel
pays
like
good.
you'll-
You could just be a
$6
fluffer.
grand.
Dude, I was-
Pays
Fantasy,
$100 a
just
day
saying.
for just fun.
Dude, I can do it. Listen,
I have some friends here in the jiu-jitsu community that were fluffers.
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
Like dudes?
Like,
They were actually okay. So they were actually. God dang, this has been a while
oh, wow.
because I
Here we
remember
go.
like
now we're getting really into it.
I'll do
they're
it.
probably going to listen to this episode. And I'm trying to think of how it went down because it kind of got mentioned in a way where like the opportunity was there for anyone, right? But yeah, no, they were actually getting down. They were actually getting down on the girls, right? So. Yeah, they were getting.
Wait, so girls need fluffers too?
No, so they weren't fluffers. They were jamming out some women, man. They
were porn guys.
Yeah, they were porn
Oh,
guys.
okay.
Yeah,
I don't have the package for it.
They didn't have the
Yeah,
package.
that's
for
the
it.
Really?
I've
Yeah.
heard that like that's not always the opportunity's not always there, and you got to go gay for pay. So
Dude, no,
I'm
I
not
was
saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying.
I think these opportunities were more like it was about numbers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They just needed the numbers, right? So it was like multiple men, but
I'm not
I
gay,
just-
but $20 is $20.
Well, there was an HBO documentary like Sextopia, and one episode was about gay porn and how there were gay porn actors, males, that said, "Yeah, I do gay porn, but I'm not gay." Like, I mean, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But he said it paid well. He did gay sex.
I mean,
and he got money,
your
but he
body-
was
put your body
married.
out
I don't
there
think he was
online.
married, but he liked girls.
yeah.
So, would you do it?
Yeah. Well, how much are we talking about?
Would Kelly let you do it?
Oh shit.
No.
Probably not. But how much are we talking about? Like a movie, like 10 grand a movie?
No, like 1,000.
1,000? No.
$6 grand per scene.
Per scene, yes. I'm the pitcher though.
Are you
I'm the pitcher, not the catcher.
No, you're the catcher,
Well, you gotta
bro.
think. Well, you gotta think. The catcher probably makes more than the pitcher.
I don't know. Is it gonna hurt? Like,
I don't know. You tell me how last night went.
hey, what are you talking about? Wait,
don't know
now
what
that
you're
sounds like we had sex.
No, we didn't have sex.
We didn't have sex. I think we did. It was
Well,
pretty-
No,
not on film.
not a, well, I don't know, 6 grand?
Is
A
it
scene?
film? Is it still film? Because nobody films movies anymore. It's all digital.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you're still filming.
Yeah.
It's digital, but you're filming.
It's called filming.
I think it's still called filming.
Old
Would
school.
you do gay porn?
First-
You're just saying no.
No,
Well,
I wouldn't.
He's like,
We're
he's
online.
secretly a bear.
No, I wouldn't do it.
I'd even be like some
okay,
dude's
bud.
boyfriend for money. I would do it.
You'd have a
dude.
sugar daddy?
Hell yeah.
This was something that came up like
Pretty good, though.
when I was when I was acting, I was like, I asked because I saw a couple roles come across where like you had to be a gay, like I auditioned for parts because I was like, yeah, I'd do it if I could break through. Like I remember reading about guys who got their breakthrough roles as gay lovers, right? And I was like, well, fuck. I mean, if it got my foot in the door and I got in Hollywood, I mean, I hate for that to be my breakthrough role, but
So just a makeout scene though. That's
yeah, I'm like, I was like,
He's
would you-
talking about full anaconda.
Well, look,
Yeah.
Heath Ledger. I don't think Heath Ledger was that big of an actor until Brokeback Mountain. Well, both of them. They both blew up.
What?
Oh, absolutely. Name a movie before that.
Knight's Tale.
That movie sucked.
What?
Yeah.
No, that was a good
That
No,
kids
get outta
movie
here.
that he's like they sing "We Will Rock You" in the movie.
I remember it
First off,
though.
that's not
It's
a
like
kids
we've
movie.
all seen it, so it must have done something. We've
Yeah.
all seen Knights.
Well, yeah, but it
I haven't
sucked.
seen.
I mean, I'm just
Brokeback
saying.
Mountain.
Did you think
I
he was the
haven't
greatest
seen
actor in the
Brokeback Mountain.
world? I saw Brokeback Mountain. I thought it was a great movie.
Did
But
you
you're
watch Magic
gay.
Mike?
No, not gay. No, I didn't watch Magic Mike.
I didn't watch Magic Mike either.
Brokeback Mountain was good. It was a good movie. It was well written. It won an Academy Award.
Never seen it.
It was a good movie. It's not graphic. The sex scenes. It's
Okay.
weird.
You wanted it to be graphic.
Let's put it this way. I was
He spits in
I
his
was in my-
hand.
I was-
That
I was
kinda
in-
No,
weird.
he doesn't. No.
I was in elementary school when that movie came out. I was not allowed to watch it.
Okay, see, I wasn't. I was 18, I think. 17. 18, 17.
God, you're old.
Whatever. They're older than me. That was a good movie. I liked
Yeah.
it. I don't think Kelly's ever seen it. I'd watch it again.
All right, so if it would break you out, you'd make out with a dude in movies.
We did it yesterday for free.
Fuck
Did
yeah!
you
If I'm
really?
gonna be like, if I'm gonna be famous,
Yeah, they.
fuck yeah.
I don't know if I.
Yeah, you can bring it up. We did it. What, the last Friday we went out? We did it in front of you. We did it in front of Coach and Paul yesterday.
Oh, kiss on the lips.
You didn't see it? Oh, you probably looked away.
It's weird. I mean, I get it. You guys are friends. I get it.
We're besties. I've known him for like
I know, but that's a Latino
years.
thing because like I don't know, I like
You kiss your son on the lips?
yeah, and daughter and wife.
I mean, I used to kiss my kids on the
I've
lips.
never kissed my son on the lips.
Yeah.
That's like some gay shit.
It's
I
not,
can't.
though.
They're a baby,
Here's the
though.
thing. This is how. I don't know if all Germans are like this.
Tom Brady does
maybe
it.
it's how my mom raised me. Maybe it's just she's a specific type of. I come from a very cold family. I say that like I know there's love there, right? Like I've never not felt loved, but
No affection.
we never really said I love you to each other. Like my mom and dad, we never say that.
Germans aren't really like that. They don't show a lot of
We don't
affection.
hug.
No.
We never kiss on the lips. Not my mom or my dad. I don't remember as a kid ever saying "Dad, I love you" or "Mom, I love you" or them vice versa. It was just like it's kind of like unspoken, and we know it. But yeah, I never kissed my son on the lips. I didn't, I never really told my sons I love them. It's kind of like it's unspoken, but we know it. But Latinos are very huggy, kissy.
Yes.
Dude, I tell
That's a
we
Latino
tell each
thing.
other, my kids and I, like, I love you probably 30 times a day, like, especially when we're together. Samuel's, I think, getting older. I don't think he likes it anymore, because, like, so I just give him the kiss on the cheek.
It's not cool.
Yeah, and that happened with me and my dad. I stopped around 11 and 12 because the stigma of it being gay. My daughter, like, I still kiss her in the mouth. We do this, we go, we go like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and it was like that with my parents, too. Obviously, I don't kiss my mom on the lips anymore. But I couldn't see it. Like, I don't know. Like not kissing your kids. And it sounds so weird, but
Any kind of kiss for me is awkward. I've got Latina friends that come up to do the kiss on the side,
yeah.
and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I feel violated. Like I'll do
You're
it,
like,
but I'm just like,
awkward.
It's awkward. It's weird. Like I'm not.
I was weirded out that people didn't do that. Like, I grew up in Miami. Like, even the first time
That's the culture for
yeah,
you,
the
though.
first time you meet someone, you're kissing one, like, on doing a thing.
Right.
And then you did that to the same genders, like, if they're your family, like my uncles and not aunts, but uncle and grandpa.
Did you? Go ahead.
Anyways, so I remember, like, meeting, like, I moved to Texas and then meeting new people, and then, like,
You'd go up to do that, and they'd be like,
it was it was awkward. I'm like, how do I say hi to you?
like, slow down there, buckaroo.
Handshakes?
Dude, here's how German I am. I can't watch Borat because it's too awkward for me. It's like
Really?
It's like, oh god, that's so awkward. I get the creepies. Like I watched Borat do this scene the other day. It was like Borat's best scenes or something, right? And then it looked like a wrestling team or something, but this wrestling team was all lined up and he's coming in as some like official to like congratulate him or something. And all these dudes, all he walks up and kisses them both on the side of the cheeks. But it's funny to watch how all the other rest of the team sees it happen to the first one, and they're like, they have to make a decision right then and there. Like, what am I gonna do? So like the other guys come up and they're like, like, it's like it's kind of gay, right? Like it's like, well, I got to do it because this guy's important. Like they don't know who he is, or like. He's got this scene at a table where he's at some established some wealthy family. He's there and he's like
having dinner with them.
But your wife, she's like a cow or something. She's not the pretty, And I'm like, this is so awkward for me. It violates something in me, and I'm just like, oh, it's like. I can watch a little bit, but then I can't go further. I'm just this is just too
it's
awkward.
too much.
You gotta see the one where he's with feminists and he's interviewing him. That's legit hilarious.
That's
Because
what's his name? Sean Cohen?
No.
Sasha
Baron Cohen.
Right. At least do that. Get on YouTube and Borat with the feminists because it's funny.
We got a new one out on Showtime, I think. Like he's interviewing politicians and getting them to say dumb stuff, arming kindergartens.
Yeah,
and they agree with it.
Yeah, this is how stupid our fucking politicians are. God dang.
Kindergartens with a revolver.
Yeah, and they're like,
I would vote for that. Right?
I think it's great that he did that, just to show how ignorant. Like, you got $10,000 to donate, I'll back anything, whatever. We're retarded. We don't care. You saw that Hank Johnson, where he was concerned that Guam was going to tip over.
Oh yeah. If we send the Marines there, they're going to tip over the island's going to capsize.
This is our politicians, right? This is who we have. Making laws. This is our elected officials at the highest level making fucking laws. Like they're just.
It's like the guy who's pulled out the ghost gun.
Yeah. Fired 10,000 rounds a second. You know what's? I got somebody gave me some shit the other day for not voting. I haven't voted, and it's your civic duty. Like no, first of all, it's a right, and absolutely it's a right, and it's my choice to vote or not. But I think a lot of people are voting that shouldn't be voting. Like the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Yeah, it's a right. I don't think everyone should bear arms. I mean, there's some people that don't know how to use a gun. They'll feel comfortable and they don't have to. I think there's a lot of people that shouldn't be voting. Like, they just don't know any better. They don't do any research.
I was just going to say, they don't do the research. They're just believing one side, whether that side
whatever
right
their click,
It's,
I think it's fucked up that in 2018, we still have to go to some fucking building somewhere and vote. I mean, we supposedly went to the moon 40 years ago or whenever it is. I can't fucking vote online. Like,
more people vote for American Idol than they do the president.
Because it's easier.
It's easier. That's the thing. Like, to get a true consensus, make it to where I can vote from my phone. It's not hard. Like, use biometrics, right? Or just use biometrics. Or you just do it from wherever, your computer, your
I think
phone.
that's part of the master plan, making it awkward or difficult or inconvenient to vote.
Yeah.
I think making it difficult too. Why is it so difficult to vote?
You have to go to a official voting area.
Yeah.
And when something you have to wait in line, dude, people
gotta get that
jobs.
sticker that says I voted.
Yeah, I think that's part of the plan. The master plan is making things more difficult.
Which I mean, I disagree. Everyone should be able to vote. Everyone should.
No,
vote.
they should. They are allowed to vote. Well, not everyone.
I mean, and some. Well,
citizens.
Well, that's the thing is they're trying to repeal that. They're trying to pass I think it's a law or something that felons can vote.
They should be able to vote.
They'll be able to vote again.
I think they should be able to vote again.
But
I think if you serve your time,
it's your own opinion.
I personally would say it depend on your what you did. If you molested a child, you have no business voting. They'd be voting for, it should be legal to molest children. It's
that's true.
If you did a heinous crime,
I'd
say no because, but if you're you got busted with some pot or something, you can, I think if it's an immoral act, then we know your judgment's compromised. But if it's because we have laws that aren't immoral, right?
Yeah.
Like pot's illegal.
Yeah, victimless crimes.
CBD, right? Victimless crimes or crimes that are speeding or things like that.
Because isn't there a law in Florida you go a certain amount over the speed limit, it's a felony?
Right.
Yeah.
So
25 over, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, I was going fast in my car, just being reckless. Now I can't carry a gun. Now I can't vote.
Right.
Yeah. Boom.
Yes, it's a conscious decision, but at the same time, how far will
Who
it
did it
go?
really affect?
Yeah.
Well, you know what pisses me off?
Who are you saving?
On the Florida ballot, one of the things they're voting on is to stop, not racehorses,
Greyhound
racing.
Yeah.
And I think that's horseshit.
No, it's.
I don't think it's anyone. I don't think it's the government.
It's dog shit.
Yeah.
By the way, just saying.
That's punny. I think it's such a dumb thing to have on the ballot because, like, one, I think it's government overreaching. Two, obviously, it's been around for this long. People enjoy it. People are doing it. And, like, I get animals and stuff. Like, I get, like, but, man, when we start, like, overvaluing animal life over human life, like, you kill an American eagle and, like, you're going to jail forever. You know, you try to hang a baby in a nursery and you get probation. Like, I think some things are just, we're not focusing on the right shit. Like we have on the ballot to ban greyhounds. Does it? If you don't like, stop going to them. Oh wait, people are still going. I don't think it's bad. I think it's an art. It's a sport.
Now do I believe that there should be a guideline to where how the animals are treated?
Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah.
I think that's
because
what,
what's next? Are we gonna get rid of racehorseing? Like no more racehorsing?
No,
like,
because think about it.
That's gonna be next.
They breed those horses. I mean, what was it, American Pharaoh? What, like $500,000?
Dude, those dogs are expensive.
No, that's not a dog. It's a horse.
Oh my bad. Yeah, those things. Yeah.
Yeah, to breed with American Pharaoh, it was like what, $500,000?
Yeah.
Something crazy.
Horses are expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big time.
I was an assistant vet once at a horse racing place called Louisville Downs. That was pretty cool.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so what's next? We're gonna get. Is that gonna be on the ballot one day? Like, hey, horse racing is illegal.
Because horse racing is for the elite.
That's true. But so is greyhound racing. There's a lot of money in that. It's gambling, obviously.
I don't know. Laws are written around the elite. You take a bum that steals $100 from a bank, he's going to freaking jail for life. You take a banker that works there that's skimming millions of dollars, he's going to get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, white collar crime.
White collar crime.
Yeah.
Is anyone familiar with this guy named something Epstein or Epstein? I don't know if it's pronounced Steen or Stein.
Sounds familiar.
In German, it'd be pronounced Stein, Epstein. But he got caught molesting all these children, and it was his. Remember, you always hear about this airplane that Bill Clinton got on many times, going to this private island, this billionaire's private island, where they were molesting children. Of course, it's international waters, so there's no law out there. You can do whatever. But all these different politicians got on this guy's plane, and this guy got busted molesting children in Miami. But all the people that got on his plane, like Trump was on his plane multiple times. Bill Clinton was on his plane, but they would go to his private island, and
For a party.
yeah,
Quotation.
yeah. But he got busted, man. All these women that came out against him when he was 13 and 14 years old, and he was forcing them to have sex, and he didn't do any time. He got like 2 years of probation or some shit. But
Interesting.
he's part of the cabal.
That's right.
That we can't mention.
It's a
Gross.
sad world. Money rules. Money rules. And the wicked
Yeah.
have the money. For sure.
So I think we exhausted our conspiracy stuff.
Yeah.
Here comes the
That sounds.
static.
Should we play Marry, Fuck, Kill?
No.
Nope.
Would you rather?
What did since I've been out of the jiu-jitsu, it feels like I've been gone for a month. What did I miss?
Because you didn't go Monday either. Because there was a seminar. You came Tuesday, and then Wednesday there's no class, and
What did I miss out on? Was there any fun stuff? Anybody get any injuries this week or
no injuries, no.
no injuries?
The new guys were fun though. It was cool to watch them.
We got some new blood. Some more
And we
talent.
got to indoctrinate them. We got to hook them. We
Yeah.
got to keep them.
Good guys. They're nice.
Heel hooks in the gi. Always.
Did you ever talk to
One of them's a Navy officer.
Yeah.
He showed up
He's
in
a swell.
dope ass Mustang. What
a
is
Mach
it?
1 or one of those?
No, above
That's a
that.
Shelby.
A new Shelby.
The Shelby.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, he dropped some ducats on
It's
that.
that swell money.
Yeah, man. They get them.
Did you say what boat he was on?
No, I think it would have to be at a
Detroit?
Mayport.
New
Would it be
York?
Mayport?
I mean,
Yeah.
if he's a slow, yeah, it's got to be Mayport.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I think he's at a Mayport. He has to be at a Mayport.
Okay.
I think you said Detroit.
The
When I
boat.
asked them, yeah. But
Oh, you met them? They were here when you were here?
yeah, I rolled with them after you.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It was a good roll.
Yeah. Is a blue
Yeah,
belt.
he's got a good. The shorter one has a good guard. I like his leg work. I like it. I like how he plays guard. He's got a good guard. The tall one, my son.
The one you,
Troy.
the one you like did a private. with him?
Yeah, you were there for that
It
too,
was
right?
like an hour long.
Because I like his style and I want him to train with us because I like how smooth he is.
He is smooth.
He's very smooth, man. The guy's, came up in Pedro Sauer's network and he's just super chill. And that's what I like. That's what I want that guy to come into our dojo because I like fostering that, right? That's good. That's good. It's good mojo.
No, it's funny. We talked about that, like slowing my game down, trying to use less strength. So I've been starting to working on that, and I rolled with Brent yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And man, I think we rolled for almost 14 minutes, like nonstop.
Well, you want to get to where you can roll for an hour.
Yeah.
You want to get to where your thing is you want to detune your game as much as possible with everyone you're rolling against. So everyone, like if you're rolling with, you want to be able to roll with Joan and have her enjoy it. You want to make it equal. So you got to somehow make your weight and strength match her weight and strength.
Yeah.
And that should be the deal. So that anyone you roll with, you want to try to beat them with technique, not strength and power and weight.
You want
And
them to
if
fall
you're
into submission.
trying to do
There goes
that,
mine.
then you're well. Don't get me wrong.
Knee on
Like
belly.
you
my go-to.
want to learn to use your assets. This is like a double-edged sword because yes, your strength is your weight and your size, but you want to learn to defeat people without that. And then you can add that in, like you want to master technique, right?
No, and I
And-
totally get it. Like you're
and
talking
let the-
about like focusing on that 2 or 3 moves that you know over and over and over again, while everybody else is they're loving their game, and you're just stuck to those 2-3 things that work. But yeah, if you take away that strength, then you can start working on technique, and then like in a match, in a real fight, now you have all this
Yeah.
technique, and now you're like, you know what, it's game on. I'm going to use my strength and my technique.
Yeah.
No, and I totally, it's starting to click. I actually talked to Tom about it because I noticed I was seeing Tom rolling with one of the new guys. Man, Tom looked like he was trying to run through a wall the whole fight, and he gets gassed out. It's like, bro, look, this is the kettle calling the pot black, but you need to slow down. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
slow down, dude. Just trust me, it'll
Dude.
come.
I mean, yesterday he attacked me. I was like, because I was like, oh, Brenden told me to not to take it easy on the old guys, and he just started clawing at me. I was like, dude, it's weird.
Like, is he strong? Don't get me wrong, and he's big and tall.
And I feel bad for the guys that are dealing with that, right? Like you got this big, strong guy just coming at you. Not saying Tom, not saying specifically Tom.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying anyone big
Yeah.
and strong just coming at you with all this power and ferocity, and you got to learn to be like my son. Like that dude. You got to learn to be
So we're legit calling this
yeah.
guy your son.
Yeah, he's
It's
there.
started.
for now. For now.
We gotta let him know one time.
That's what you need to
I'm so jealous.
aim
of that.
for, right? You need to aim for that smoothness, that lack of power.
I was gonna say something, I just forgot.
We're jealous. I thought we were on board with that.
Well, yeah,
I'm jealous of this son.
yeah. And what were we talking? God, oh yeah, it was on Monday the seminar. He said something that it just clicked. Like you're never trying to hold someone. You're never trying to control anyone. You're just trying to slow them down.
Telling the
'Cause-
master powers.
Yeah, because like you can hold somebody for 30 minutes and they're gonna get out. You just wasted all that energy.
Yeah.
But just to slow them down so you can do what you want. Man, I don't know why when he said those words, it just like a ball clicked. Like because I've always been trying. I'm just gonna keep you here. I'm not gonna move until I figure something out. And I was getting drained. Now I'm like, no, don't do that. Just slow them down. Kind of like
Oh yeah.
like kind of
Yeah.
move the water this way a little bit. Man, when he said that, it just like a light bulb turned in my head.
I try to do that with Paul. Kind of slow him down. But every time I try to do something, he already knows what I'm trying to do. It's like, well, that's not gonna work.
I've never rolled
That's
with
not-
Paul.
And you never will.
You probably won't.
You won't roll?
He's scared. He doesn't want. He
But
doesn't
you know
want
what I
you to
mean?
hurt
Like,
him.
it's the same thing with Bobby. I slow down Bobby, but he knows exactly what I'm trying to do. So it's like, the what do they call it? The something's out of the can, whatever. Like they know what I'm doing. So okay, fuck it. You know what works? Knee on belly right there. Take the jump up.
What idiom were you trying to say? Something-
Cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what can?
I don't know.
Snakes out of the can.
There's a snake in my boot. That's all it is.
I like Henry. Henry always makes up his own idioms. He
Yeah,
just-
he does.
on the fly.
I wonder if he
whatever.
I wonder if he does that in Portuguese or whatever language he's.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like if he's having a conversation with some Portuguese and they're just like, "What did he just say?" It makes no sense.
Y'all are having secret conversations.
He just asked me like if he can go pee.
Yeah, I was like, can I go to the bathroom?
Go to the ba- we'll talk
break,
about you.
break. We'll just make
We'll
fun
talk
of you
about
while
you
you're
later
gone.
on. Yeah.
It's all good.
Can I go to the bathroom? Make sure you flush.
Wash your hands.
So Keefer's so gay, dude.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's a little gay, bro. It's all good though.
It's
Gay
just-
people are people too. They have
Yeah.
rights.
Idioms. I think it's so funny when people use idioms wrong or
Man, at the last, it was either the last one or the one before. I think it was the one before, the association meeting before the last one. But we had a gay guy show up. He's part of the association. You know, I think he was wearing like a pink belt or something, or pink embroidery on his gi or something. And he kind of admitted, he's like, yeah, you know, I'm gay. And he had gotten ostracized and basically pushed out of his first school.
really.
Yeah, for being gay. Yeah, he was like,
Oh, that's fucked up.
and I didn't mind. I trained with him. I'm just like, I'm not anti-gay or anything. I'm like, I don't care who you are. Like, respect me, I'll respect you. But I thought it was cool because Brad Hatcher, you know, he was obviously welcome. And Brad's a super cool dude. He was welcomed in Brad's school, which I would too. If someone gay showed up at my school, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, you're welcome. I just put him with Alex all the time.
No problem.
Boom, just roll.
All day.
Yeah, during was it Breast Cancer Awareness Month? I was thinking, you know,
Get a
about
pinky.
pink gay or something like that. I'll get a pinky for Kalani. For sure.
Dude, one of the guys who recently got his black belt in Luis's network, I kind of brought him and I did bring him and his dad into the network because I met his dad in the Philippines who stopped in and trained with me while I was training in the Philippines. He was from North Carolina. But his name is Jay Spate, and his dad's name is James Spate. But Jay recently got his black belt, and he always wore a pink gi, and he would come out to his MMA fights, and he was really a really good MMA fighter, like top 5% for sure. You know, I think he was 20 some odd fights undefeated, and yeah, that's good. He could have went UFC. He could have, like, I think if he wanted to, he could have went UFC, and he just chose not to. But he always came out, when he would fight, he would come out in a pink gi, listening to the song "Love You Like a Love Song." That would be the music he chose for his walkout song. Love You Like a Love Song.
I like that song.
That's a power move.
And he'd come
That's a power
out
move.
in a pink gi, and then it'd beat your ass, so that all your friends are gonna make fun of you the rest of your life.
It's a mind game. Unless, I mean,
Unicorns.
Yeah, it's chess, not checkers.
It's right.
I mean,
Is that what
what's the craziest thing that you've done in a match, or before a match? After
I don't
a
think
match?
coaches like that.
yeah, no.
Really?
He gets
Yeah.
uncomfortable watching Borat. He's not
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
do.
Yeah.
flamboyant.
Really?
You're not gonna come out with like a Macho Man Randy Savage, like
Unicorn leggings.
Oh,
Not like a stare down, like
Ric Flair
try and get in
Gators.
his head, nothing like that.
No,
Wow,
I'm not
okay.
an awkward shit. I'm pretty by the
Basic.
rules, basic dude.
It's like Alex with his unicorn Spanx.
Hell yeah. Like coach
no gi.
having a nickname as Noob Noob. It's ironic if I ever become good at this.
Get beat by
Yep,
Noob.
that is. It's a good name to have. Noob's good.
Does your new car have the Noob license plate on it?
Yeah, of course I cut the plate.
You kept the plate.
Noob.
Was that intention or
No, it's
intentional? Just happened.
Just happened. I was like, man, my license plate says noob. That's weird. And I owned it. Like, it doesn't really say the word noob. It just, if you pronounce it, even with the number 8, it looks like a B.
Yeah.
Noob.
My motorcycle's license plate says meow.
Yeah, really?
And I hate
That's
it.
awesome.
On accident?
Yeah. And I went back to the dealership and said, is there any way you guys can change that? And they're like, no. You
Dude,
gotta
I
do
think that's
DMV.
totally dope. That
Yeah.
reminds me of Super Troopers. All right, now, what's the problem? What's the problem?
Sea turtle egg.
I got caught doing that. Like, you're doing the Super Trooper thing. I'm like, all right, here's a warning. Get out of here.
All right, yeah.
You did it to someone?
Yeah, well, my FTO was cool. So we had this thing, right? It was during sea turtle season. And I'd do the...
You actually said meow to someone.
Yeah, and I got caught because the movie's popular. So we changed it up to sea turtle eggs. Like, we would go and make a big deal about sea turtle eggs. Like, because it was during the time they had all the things met up. So we're like, hey, do you have any drugs, weapons, sea turtle eggs? And I'm like, what? yeah, do you
Catch
have
'em
any
off
sea
guard.
turtle eggs? You know, that's a felony offense, blah, blah, blah. Can't be messing with the nest. Like, no, I haven't been on the beach all day. Are you sure? He's like, yeah, can I check? He's like, yeah. No, don't worry about it. Have a good day. What I was really doing was trying to see if they were drunk and just get them to talk to me.
Yeah.
Right.
But just asking something like sea turtle eggs, and then my FTO would just laugh about it, just start cracking up. Because sea turtles, man, I love sea turtles. I think they're fascinating. Like 400, 500 pounds. Like, I always thought they were these little guys.
No.
They're huge, dude. Like the size of my Civic. Because it's a small car.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Just make fun of me. I don't care. Gas
You brought
mileage.
it up. It's good on gas mileage. I was looking at cars at work because I was so busy.
Yeah.
But they've got like a Maserati for sale.
Oh, that's what you need.
Yeah, it's really economic.
Yeah, that's great, dude.
Decent price, man.
What, like 90,000, 80,000?
We'll cut it in half. I love fast cars. I love like
We
super
all
luxury
do.
cars.
We all
but
do.
But I can't afford that shit.
Oh, no.
I got a rule, man. Like as a couple years ago, if I can't pay cash for it, I can't afford it. I
That's
won't
true.
own anything in this world that I can't pay cash for. Nothing. If I own it, it's paid for. I don't believe in debt of any form.
It's a good motto.
Once you pay off that house, man, you're good. Once you pay for your property, and then you just have all that money. You know, your number one goal should be getting debt free. That should
Oh,
be it.
yeah,
Just get
100%.
debt free, and it's easy to do if you just focus at it. You suffer for like a year or two, but what you would have bought in that year or two wouldn't have pacified you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You would have been like 2 years later, you'd be right back in the same spot where you want a different car. So just fucking suck it up, man. Pay off your
Yeah.
debts. Like do extreme shit to pay off your debt. You know,
That's kind of been my goal. I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Is, I'm gonna suffer for the
Well,
next.
I mean-
like, I'm thinking 2 or 3 years, right? But like the benefits, because I look at
Yeah.
the
You
money
don't-
that's going to debt.
you
I could
Interest,
go on
interest is what
trips and-
kills on everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Once you
Oh,
get
God.
once you're interest free, like it's easy to accumulate. It's easy to become successful and accumulate, riches or however you want to call it. But
Interest.
pay off everything. Don't owe anything. Nothing. Don't stop. Don't buy anything until you pay. I even went. We could talk about my story off the air. I did something
Yeah.
different. Like I went a whole other route. But there's solutions out there for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the goal. Like I'm like, not spending unnecessary amounts of money on big ticket items.
True.
I don't buy shit. Everything I wear, and I wear fucking $6 clothes from.
Goodwill.
Dude, the most awesome place to shop in the world is Old Navy, dude. They're
Really?
shit. Oh, dude.
I like Ross.
I like-
No, go to Old
TJ
Navy.
Maxx, Old
Go-
Navy,
go to
those are
Old
the
Navy.
places to be.
Old Navy, like those shirts right there, are like $6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always a heathered cotton, and I buy everything. My
it's
pants all
nice.
come from Old Navy. My
They're
shirts,
nice clothes,
everything.
and then Christmas is coming around the corner, so they're gonna have super deals. And
Oh,
people
yeah.
in there.
They always do.
Yeah, coupons.
All the
Coupons.
Coupons.
I'm a
All the
I'm a cheap
coupons.
mofo, man. I'm a cheap mofo.
Minimal.
I'm jumping on that bandwagon. I don't know if it's. I'm getting to that point where I'm like, okay, I've got pretty much what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Yeah.
at a point where it's like, if I'm gonna buy something extra, it's just for pure enjoyment. But I've got what I think I need in life. A car,
Yeah.
a house, and all that.
like,
just
once it
checking off
comes
the
out-
blocks of shit you need. Now at this point, I'm like, fuck,
I
I want to pay off that house.
I don't want anyone to like me if you like me for physical or don't like me for what I wear or what I drive, I don't want to be friends with you anyway.
Yeah.
It's like
that's
that's the
true.
cool thing. I feel
Yeah.
like it makes me more authentic and it makes my friends more authentic,
Yeah,
right?
you attract
like
the wrong people.
If you like Bobby that runs around in a 2008 Odyssey, and no jewelry and no brand name clothes, then I know you genuinely like me.
Yeah.
You know who your biggest critics are is your friends. Like,
Yep.
you see people walking down the street, you're not thinking, oh, look at those knockoff shoes or that. No, it's your
Well,
friend.
I mean,
it
you do
depends
that.
who your friends
you
are.
do that. You're kind of a hater.
I am a hater, but no, like it's your friends that call you out. So like, just check your friends, like you said. Like, you don't need that negativity, that bullshit.
Everything I wear is like years ago, like 10 years ago, everything I wore was the most expensive. Everything. I drove a Corvette. And
Yep.
I had this ridiculous house payment, $1,700 a month or something stupid. And
Jesus.
I had fucking
That's not much.
everything was everything. My shoes, my pants, everything was ridiculous. And when I was a kid, my mom got me hooked on this, right? Like she used to buy me. I was the only kid in my school wearing Z Cavarici pants, right? Like these are like
I remember those.
$250 pants, right? Like they're ridiculous. They're like, man,
Jordans. When Jordans first came out,
Dude,
it
I
was
was wearing-
crazy because they were like $125. Now they're like double that.
Yeah.
Dude, I was wearing Shaqs.
maybe they weren't too good, but they were expensive. They were like the most expensive pants you could buy.
Yeah.
Cavarici.
Yeah.
Cross colors.
And then one day I just woke up and I was like, man, this is what
Yeah.
I'm making good, more than enough money to live good, you know? And once you get away from all that,
You know, we're bitching about it, but women spend way more money. I remember when I was married, I was wearing Hanes Fruit Loom underwear, and my wife at the time, that
Victoria's
chick
Secret.
was Victoria's
Yeah,
Secret,
dude.
everything. All my and her Coach bags. All my money
Yeah,
was
I just
going
bought
there.
my wife a Coach bag for her
but you,
birthday.
but you start. What's interesting is when you start meeting these people who are doctors and lawyers, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. Like when I'd be in IT, I'd send these guys a bill, right? I'd go out there and save their asses. Like when I have my own IT company, like their shit would be down, their data is lost. I'd rebuild it. They lost their everything. Their QuickBooks, they lost their. I'm working, 14 hours, work all night long. They need it by Monday morning. I get it all up and run. I send them a bill for, whatever it was, $1,000 or something. And they want to sit there and argue with me about it, and then they wait like 3 months to pay it. And you're like, hey man, and they make plenty of money, but they're strapped, right?
Yeah.
And then you meet this dude who like he mows lawns, right? He's a lawnmower, and he's got $1 million in the bank, right? Because he lives in this $60,000 or $80,000 house that he made real nice inside, and he's got a paid for car, and that's the way to go, right? It's not about
yeah.
And it's kind of to piggyback off what you said, like, yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I got everything. I got the house I never want to move out of. I got like cars I like. Now I just want to focus. Like I told my wife, like right now I'm not working, and we're surviving off one income. But once I start working, like, hey, let's keep on doing what we've been doing the last couple of months, and let's kill our debt. Because I do want to travel. I like going out, like having fun. I'm not big on spending. Like I hate spending money.
Yeah.
But and I wasn't always like that either. Kind of my parents. Like I had like Lacoste shirts, Burberry craft. And when I was little, I didn't know anything, and then I kind of just thought that's what everybody wears. But I broke that cycle off, one, because I can't afford it.
Yeah, no more.
No,
No.
no, exactly. But no, like exactly, like just
Being house poor. I mean, we're fortunate in Florida. I know I've got family that's out in California, and dude, $1,700, they would freaking love to pay $1,700.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because the land out there and the price of housing is so expensive. But to caveat what you were saying, doctors, I work around a lot of doctors, and I've noticed naval officers too. On the flip side of that, I noticed a lot of them that don't drive those expensive cars.
Oh, yeah.
You see a commander or a captain in the Navy, and he's driving
A beater.
a 1995 Honda Civic, right? And this dude, and I don't know if he's driving that, but because that's all he can afford, or he's just banking money.
Oh no,
right?
they're just banking money.
He's living probably in a beautiful house, an officer's house on base,
Yeah.
or has a really nice house out in town. The wife probably drives a decent car, but they're just raking in
shit. Well,
hand over fist with money, right?
I know my father-in-law. He's a retired general from the Air Force. He's about to retire from Delta, flying airplanes.
Oh my God, that dude's
Like you've met him. Like,
Yeah, and
well, I think you met him too because he was at the comp.
super down to earth.
I don't think he's bought new clothes in the last 10 years.
Nope.
Like, he really has. I bought, like, the newest
they're
shirt
the
he
same
has, I
size.
bought him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, he drove his mother's van for the longest, my father-in-law's mother's van, and they just bought another van, and not top of the line, like, the base, like, they don't care, and, like, they're happy, and I know he's got money in the bank, just, like, because I need to retire. Like, you can just Google what a retired general makes, and it's more than I make in a year that he makes like in 2 months. And he's a pilot, like flies 777s.
making
And
hundreds of dollars.
You would never think about it. He's the typical white guy, old grandpa. Jeans,
Yeah, you would
short
never
shorts,
expect it.
white
Never.
New
He's a
Balance.
sleeper.
Yep.
Oh man, and just he doesn't even like. He gets upset like, oh, I don't want to spend $100 on an Apple TV. Let me see if I can go to the pawn shop. Spend the whole day at the pawn shop trying to haggle for $20.
Yep.
And I go, you're like,
That's how you become successful.
But that's
Oh,
how you,
yeah, definitely.
But that's exactly how you.
yeah.
It's too many wealthy people I know, and you look at them and you're like, God, they're loaded. Look what they're wearing. Like, the guy. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. Is I think I've shared this one before, but I don't know if I shared it on the podcast. But my if you've been to the Philippines, 95% of that population, 90 to 95% is third world poor. And then you got they have the caste system, like even they call it that. Like the caste system is when you have the uber wealthy and you have the uber poor subservient to them, basically slaves, right? And you would be at the mall and you'd see this gorgeous girl walking down the mall man, high heels and nice dress and slick back hair and beautiful complexion, just gorgeous, right? And you get to meet her, and you find out she's living in a cardboard box by the water, right? Like she's pooping on the side of the bank, and she's got no food. It's like, my point is, it may look great, like aesthetically, like at the mall, and you're like, wow, this place is so. But these people are poor.
Yeah,
they're poor, and like the first girl I dated there, her family was living in like this, basically a cardboard box. There was like 8 of them, and they were all sleeping on the floor, and one of them, there wasn't even enough room on the floor. She had to sleep in a chair, and there were like legs under her chair, like people sleeping under, it was ridiculous. So when I brought my current wife here, and she was like, if there were such a thing as like upper lower class or middle class there, like her father was a professor, so they did a little bit better than most people, but definitely weren't part of the elite. So she comes here, and one of the tricks, here's one of the things that happens in the Philippines, is when I first go there, I didn't know this trick happened. So I'm there, I meet this girl, and she says, hey, let's go get something to eat. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. And we jump on the back of a jeepney, and as we're leaving, she's telling everyone, hey, we're going to eat. You want to come? And they're like, yeah, we'll come too. And I'm like, we end up with like 20 people. And I thought, well, they're all going to, that's cool. They all want to hang out. They're all, because I'm hearing what she's saying. She's like, oh, we're going to eat. You guys want, they're like, where are you going? We're going to eat. You want to come? Yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm like, okay, there's a whole bunch of going to eat. We go to this place. It's kind of an expensive place. It's a buffet. And 20, 25 of us eat, and all of a sudden the lady comes to the bill, and I learned this Filipino thing where they go, like they use their mouth, and it means that way, right? And that they kind of, the bill comes to me, and I'm like, I'm pissed, right? I get like a, I don't know, $100 bill or something, Not a lot for 25 people, but still. I yell at her. I said, don't ever let that happen again. But I find they do this all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so I bring Chin here, and she says, my aunt and uncle are coming to visit, and they wanted to know if we want to go out to dinner. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I know this setup, right? Nah, we're not going out. Like, I'm not fucking buying. They want to go somewhere nice. They want to go to like, Longhorn. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I said, I know this. I know the deal. I
know your games.
Yeah, I know the games, right? And I say, and then she comes back like a half an hour later. She talks to him. She goes, they said they'll pay. I'm like, oh, they'll pay?
Oh, really?
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll go if they're paying. I'm like, I'm gonna get this nice meal, kind of get even for all these times I got taken advantage of in the Philippines. So they show up and they're fucking blinged out, man. They got gold, diamonds, $2,000 watches. They got all just like purses, $5,000 purses, because it's like 2 aunts and 2 uncles.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, these people are broke as shit. And they're just, this is all
Facade.
So they leave, and they invite Chin to go down. They invite Chin to go to Tampa and hang out with them. So Chin goes down there, and she comes back like a few days later. And she goes, they live in a mansion. You can't imagine. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's what a nice house looks like here. Because I'm thinking she's like, no, it's a mansion. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, people have nice houses here. Yeah, so it's nicer than my house. I get it. And she's like, no, it's a mansion. So eventually we drive down there, and later I go down and I find out the story. The husband. So there's like 2 aunts and 2 uncles. As long as 2 are by law, but the uncle, her father's brother, had went in for outpatient surgery at the hospital. Just outpatient, like in and out, just gonna get like a sister moved.
Yeah.
He comes out a paraplegic. They sue the hospital and get $200 million.
Oh my goodness.
$200 million. And that's not even all, because you don't pay taxes on that. Like, that's free and clear, $200 million. They also got 3 CNAs and a nurse for the rest of their life that the hospital has to pay for. So the wife was a nurse. So she's like, the nurse is to give him pills. That's all she has to do. The CNAs do all the work. But since the wife was a nurse, she's like, I'll be the nurse, and I'll give the pills, and I'll take the $60,000 or $70,000 a year or whatever. So they also got that as well.
Yeah.
And so anyway, what happened is in the Philippines, if that had happened, you're just fucked, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't know. They had moved here from the Philippines like a year before that or 2 years before that. And the neighbors who had been here a little bit longer were relatives too, and they said, you got to sue. You'll get a lot of money. You got to sue. And they were happy because they were going to get unemployment, or disability. And they're like, man, they thought they were so fortunate that they were going to get something, and they were going to be able to live. Man. And when they got awarded $200 million, they gave the neighbors that told them that, because they weren't going to sue, they gave the neighbors $10 million.
Holy sh!
Can you imagine? Like just for telling them, you got to sue. They got $10 million. Because that was the other aunt and uncle that came down. So turned out they were actually loaded. And they tried to get Chin to go there because Chin's a nurse. So they tried to get Chin to be the live-in nurse, and they was going to pay her and all this, but they wanted her to move to Tampa, right? And Chin's like, no, I'm staying here with my husband.
Good.
But yeah, they had mad money. And I'm like, they could give us $1 million. It really wouldn't hurt them.
Small loan, $1 million.
Get a loan.
But yeah, it wouldn't be worth, being a paraplegic, but $200 million, man, that's rock star money right there.
Yeah, that would be an equal trade. I don't think there's enough money for that bullshit.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Just losing your limbs. I mean,
yeah, essentially.
Ugh.
He can barely talk. You can barely understand what he's saying. But yeah, he was at dinner that night too. And his wife, and yeah, they had unlimited resources. But they spent it pretty good. They built a orphanage in the Philippines.
Oh, that's awesome.
They
gave back
like a hospital in the Philippines. Yeah. Of course, it doesn't cost a lot to do that. Like $100,000 over there, you can build something. All right, I think we'll just wait for Brenden. We'll close out. We hit the
3 hour mark.
3 hour mark. 3 hours typically goes by pretty
smoothly.
Easy.
It does. I told him, he's like, man, we're gonna be here for 3 hours. Like, bro, like it's sometimes it starts off slow, but then you'll just end up talking. Like, oh my god, it's 3 o'clock already. It does go by fast.
Yeah.
I think I'll see that Nutcracker now.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of podcasts, but I'll watch Joe Rogan's, and I always have this fantasy that one day I'll meet him and we'll get to roll. Or
that
Eddie.
Should be interesting.
I know. I'd love to roll with
definitely
Eddie or Joe Rogan.
Just message him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Sometimes that's all it takes. Yeah. Just reaching out.
Hit him up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Can't use Facebook, obviously.
Yeah. But I'd like to see how good he is. I have no idea. I have no idea how good Joe Rogan is. Like as I know one thing, you're only as good as you practice, and he's too busy to practice that much. Like this guy's got weight and probably been that way for 10 years. We're talking about a guy that's got shit going on. He's like the most popular dude in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like how good can you be? Because when you're that successful, you got shit going on
all the time,
all day, every day.
Yeah.
You got the coolest people in the world trying to hang out with you.
Oh yeah,
like your choice daily.
He just did a stand-up too on Netflix.
Yeah, that was
He's
hilarious.
got 2. They're great.
Yeah. America is 3 people old. That's it.
That's so true.
Yeah, it is.
And Eddie, and I'll say this about him if you don't listen to Eddie very often, because he does his own thing from time to time. He's a smart dude. I didn't initially peg him as smart, right? Like when I initially listened to him, I wouldn't, I just assume, if someone's good at jiu-jitsu, I'm kind of guilty of assuming that, if you're in this art, you're not going to be an ultra brainiac, right? Like I don't know why I make that assumption, right? But this it's kind of like a meathead sport, it used to not be. I think it used to be the opposite. Like I think in Elio's time, if you were in this sport, then you were a cerebral person. But today, this sport attracts meatheads. Like that's how I look at it. Like 99% of people doing this sport today are uber athletic. So that's how I tend to see them, And then you see someone like Eddie, and when I he didn't talk about a lot of subjects initially. He's always just talking about jiu-jitsu, so you really couldn't gauge him. But the more I listened to him talk about other subjects, he's actually mad, not just on flat earth, he's mad woke on a lot of subjects. So you got to listen to some of his stuff. He's pretty fun to listen to as well. I'd like to
He's a
see.
musician.
I'd like to. Yeah, he's a good musician. I'd
And
like
a
to.
stand-up comedian like him and and Joe. They do stand-up a lot. Him, Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz. They're
Eddie has done stand-up
Eddie
comedy.
Bravo is a comedian.
No.
Stand-up right now, absolutely.
No,
I could show
I gotta
you.
see that.
No, yeah, he does. I mean, I haven't seen anything on YouTube, his stand-up, but I can go on his Instagram right now and I could show you that he does stand-up with Joey Diaz a lot of the time and Joe Rogan. So I think he's just feeding off. You know Joey Diaz, right? Matt
Yeah,
Flake,
yeah,
Matt
yeah,
Flake,
yeah, yeah. I know exactly who he is.
He's in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joey D.
But
He's
yeah,
a-
Eddie Bravo's a comedian. And what I think is cool, maybe we should do that. I was just thinking that as you were talking about it.
stand-up comedy.
No. No, we should go out. We should I don't know, plan a trip out to California and check them out and go to
But see, the problem is that could be, if it's not under the right pretenses, you're going there to challenge them. You're actually you're not making a friend. I wouldn't want to do it in a setting where it's got to be invited. You know, it's got to be. The reason is if you go there and you're like, oh, I want to test Eddie, that's the wrong pretense.
I didn't mean that.
No, I know you don't mean it
wasn't-
that way. You know, but there's no way to do it and it not be misinterpreted. I can't go there and be like, oh, I want to roll with Eddie and see how good he, I want to go there and it can't, there's no way to do it, to enter his school and test him out, and walk away there his friend. It's not going to happen like that. And not saying the goal is
So if someone was to come, when people contact you to come out to your school, do you feel it as a threat? Like if someone's like, man, I've heard about Bobby. He's cool. I want to go out to his school and roll with him, teach a class there.
It doesn't happen to me a lot because I don't have any degree of fame. I mean, it happens occasionally, but not a lot. I think for him, it's probably a daily thing, and he's probably sick and tired of
Yeah.
I agree
people.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
He's.
I think you're famous.
I would love to. Oh my God, I'd love to roll with Eddie though, man. I'd love to see, because I've been studying that game for 10 years now. I've been employing and trying to learn more and more about his system. I think it'd be pretty cool to roll with him and see what I do and don't know. See how.
I think there's a way of doing it without coming off threatening.
And I'd like to roll with Joe. Joe Rogan. I'd like to see how good he is as well. I think that'd be super cool.
Oh yeah.
If they invite me out, then I'm coming.
Definitely
coming.
wanna
So
see
if
your
you hear
stuff.
me, get
Yeah.
the word out there. If I'm invited and it's not a threat, I'm not trying to call anyone out, but that'd be an honor, man. That'd be super dope to roll with those guys.
I think that feedback is our phones,
Right now it is.
Yeah.
or at least that is. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
No, mine's just hidden.
Yeah, I gotta keep it in. What do they call that? A cage.
The cage, yeah.
The Faraday,
Yeah.
right? Blocks. Have you heard the term?
No,
Faraday cage?
never.
No. Yeah. My next house is gonna have basically Faraday cages. All the walls are gonna be basically Faraday caging. It stops RF.
Okay.
Right, because that's what gives us cancer. That's like a huge part of it. That's another conspiracy thing we should talk about sometime. Is like 5G, 3G, and 5G, and how it gives. If you haven't seen it, there's a documentary called Resonance: Beings of Frequency, and it goes to show you how much these give us cancer. These are like cell phones for you guys not watching the YouTube.
It's acceptable because it's just a big part of our life now.
We can't
So,
go
man,
over without them.
Yeah.
Like how far? Excuse me. Sick, this funk. But if you left your house, how far? And you forgot your cell phone at home. Obviously, if you were just at the next stop sign, you would turn around and go back. How far do you think it would take for you to not turn back to go get it? Where you're just like, it's too far.
I'd be at my car.
I'll tell you right now. I went when I lived here. Well, I do live here, and I was stationed in Georgia. I went all the way to River City and realized that I forgot my phone.
Did you go back?
I turned absolutely.
Yeah, you have to.
So for those of you not familiar with there, that's like 15, 20 miles.
Yeah.
It's a good half an hour. Good half an hour going over the St. Johns River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going over a bridge. Well, But it's like,
I was more than halfway. It was a 40-minute trip to go to work, and I was like 25 minutes into my trip. And
Yeah.
I went turned around and went back.
So about 2 weeks ago, you know, if you have an iPhone, I don't know how much that happens today because I haven't had an Android in a while. But if you have an iPhone, every once in a while you got to answer a call, and it ignores the fact that you're sliding that thing. You're like, God damn it, and you start getting upset. You hit it like five, you lick your finger, and you try. You're like, it wouldn't work for nothing. So I got fucking livid, right? And I just threw my phone as hard as I could with every intent of destroying it. I threw it and hit the ground, and the case flew off, and it broke the screen, and the phone was bent like a V.
Nice.
It was fucking bent like that. And I was like, I hit the button and it comes on. I slide the thing and I'm like, oh, it opened up now. It unlocked and it's all working. And I'm just like, I bent it straight and it still works.
Oh my
It
God.
fucking still works. I can't believe it.
Look at
But you can't even tell it was in an accident. But I threw that bitch and bent it like a V.
Hell yeah.
So there's that much that can be said about an iPhone. But until it breaks, it's still working. So
Yeah,
I'll keep it until the wheels fall off.
sorry, I'm looking for like an advertisement to prove to show you that Eddie Bravo does comedy. But
I know that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to. He's probably a funny dude. I wouldn't doubt it.
they probably do a comedy store.
We had a comedian. I became friends with a pretty successful comedian. His name's Colin Moulton, and he's got some skits that I guarantee you have seen. Oh, did you meet him?
Barefoot comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch any of his stuff?
I haven't got a chance.
He's
but
funny, man. He's
I'd
funny.
like to see him live.
I think the only reason he's not A-list funny, he's probably listening to this, but it's okay, is he doesn't cuss. He's totally clean.
Really?
Yeah. And I think the problem is cuss words add a little bit of emotion.
Because it's wrong. It makes it funny.
Yeah, and it's beyond that. It takes expression to another level, right?
Yeah.
Like there's just feelings that can be relayed with cuss words that aren't. You can't do it without cuss words. You know, there's just you can't. You try, right? Like you dance around. You're like, well, I'm going to be clean, but it doesn't feel the same. You can't. That is it. That's it. It's the phones.
Maybe is it always my phone?
I don't know, but so anyway, but he's more than successful. You know, he has a good life, and he's had shows. He's had what's that channel?
Comedy Central.
Comedy Central. He had a special on Comedy Central, and so he's done real well. But I think if he started dropping the F-bombs, he'd take it to another level.
He came through one day. He brought his son. He was here for a class.
Yeah.
Him and Kehlani, my son.
I think it's cool that he stops through. He stops through whenever he's, you know, it's actually that time he just came down to train. He just came down to train and headed back up. So shout out to Colin Moulton. He's got some good jits. Purple belt. All right, it's 3:09. We've slowed down. Everyone's tired. We're gonna wrap it up. See everyone next week.
Shout out to Jason. Come back home.
Miss you, Jason.
Miss you, bro.
Love you.
Like a toothache.
You read the